Kinda. All right, so hello and welcome to this Ismahawk live stream where we're here to discuss the Snyder Cut. That's right, everybody. You've been waiting for it. We've been gone. As soon as the Joss Whedon cut came out, we were like, guys, we gotta go. But the Snyder Cut is out, so we are back. That is, that's not actually the way that the events happened, but I'm Danny Shepard, and joining me today on this live stream is Jeremy Lee.
That young.
Noel Shefflin.
I am me.
Tony Smith.
What it do, baby boo?
And Adonis Xavier.
What up, man? That's that nougat wet wet. Let's go.
That's right, guys.
Oh,
whatever he just said. So,
Let's do it.
a little bit of housekeeping. I feel as though it's been so long since we've been on a stream that that we wanted to kind of before we jump into the Snyder Cut, we wanted to give you guys a little update as to where we've been, what we've been doing, and answer some of the common questions we've been receiving on a pretty regular basis over the last couple of years. So yeah, well, we'll jump into that real quick, and then we'll start talking about a little bit of DC Comics goodness. So first couple questions that we're getting asked on a consistent basis is, where the hell did we go? What have we been doing? Why have we been doing?
I don't even know where I went.
Nor do I, man. Nor do I. So wanted to kind of cover that. So everybody feel free to chime in here with whatever you got. I definitely don't speak for everybody. But Ismahawk has always been like kind of two little different divisions. We have our production company, and then we have our sort of YouTube influencer creative stuff, podcasting, stuff like that. And after a certain amount of time, we were realizing that the content creation side wasn't not as fulfilling as we wish it could have been for both consistent content creation as well as what we were truly like emotionally passionate about and what we've been trying to do our whole lives. So we kind of, and we never really meant to like just cut the tie and step away. It was more of just like, all right, let's take a step back for a minute. Let's reassess. Let's all figure our stuff out, see what we want to do. And then once we kind of have our plan of action, instead of just going and banging our heads against the wall and keep making content we're not passionate about, because that's disingenuous for us and it's disingenuous for you guys, for us not to be truly passionate about what we're doing, right? So, So we were like, okay, well, we'll take a step back. We'll start figuring it out. And next thing we know, it's been a few years. So, but we really doubled down on our on the production company aspect of Ismahawk. We have been focusing dominantly on filmmaking. We've been making commercials, music videos. We have some really big, exciting projects coming up. We've worked on a couple short films with people like Mari Takahashi, Death Battle, Echo. There's just a couple of people. We've got a couple of cool things like that we're actually shooting next week that Tony will actually be starring in. We're gonna be able to see Tony back in action. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing, and I know a lot of people are wondering what have we been doing this whole time? Was there some big gigantic fight where we all hate each other? Yes, that's the only reason we're here. But yeah, someone else tell your go off. I don't want to speak for everybody on this. Go off, fam.
I hate all you guys.
That's true. That's true.
All the hate.
Yeah, all the hate. All the hate that you feel every day, that's coming from me telepathically.
See, I knew something was up. I was like, I feel really angry.
Yep. I mean, that's
usually around 3 a.m. I'm like, why the hell do I want to punch somebody?
That's all that gym. That's that gym life, bro. You wake up and you're just like,
bruh.
You know what happened is you drank too much Bang.
You cracked out on pre-workout, bro.
Yeah, you drank too much pre-workout,
right?
And the residual pre-workout then was releasing into your
So
bloodstream.
So it came back. So it called a bang-a-rang. Right? Got it.
Okay.
What
All
are
right.
we
Got it.
talking about?
Back on track. Tony or Noel, Jeremy, you guys have anything you want to throw in there?
No, you go first, dude.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's honestly time hit us, dude. Like time, it's a combination of time, combination of pandemic, combination of life, combination of like passions leading us in other directions, combination of like, you know, wanting to develop. Like it's just life, and like, you know what I mean. Like there's always the future. We're here now. You know what I mean. Like.
Yeah. So same, guys. For me, well, I mean, if I was to like put it into like a I guess a time frame, it kind of happened when we had the contract with Facebook to do the streaming, and then we were having a fantastic time with that. And it just, what happened was, I think it was some weirdness where we lost contact with the person that we signed the contract, something like really weird. And then we just didn't re-sign the contract. And then I found out we had another baby on the way. So I had to go back to kind of 9 to 5 for, 4 to 5 days a week while also working on other stuff on the side. And then the pandemic hit. I was working with Jeremy and some of our DPs that we've worked with in the past, and some of our like BTS folks, and some of the, and mostly I was just doing crew, kind of just hanging out with Jeremy. It's not really hanging out though, because it'll usually just be me and Jeremy, and we're like in the middle of the hot sun for like 16 hours. So
That sounds
it's not
right.
Yeah. It's not
So
really
hanging out with Jeremy. So actually hanging out with Jeremy, because of Jeremy does.
So
That's all I do.
yeah, dude, that's what Jeremy does. That's what does Jeremy do,
You guys got to see some of the tan lines that Jer has gotten on Ismahawk shoots
Oh
over
my
the years.
God.
Bruh.
They are legendary.
Professional tan
Legendary.
lines.
Professional talent.
And
I have to give. Right now.
I have to give a lot of credit to Jeremy, because he's always in black. And guys,
Yeah.
if you've ever been to Vegas, if you live in Vegas, that's like, you don't wear black, dude. Like, and Jeremy wears black t-shirts
Not
with
on
a
this.
tank top underneath.
Yep.
Underneath.
It's a weird accent, but I'm with it.
And black slacks. And he'll wear it in the middle of summer, you guys. And it's like 110 outside. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna.
Oh, sorry. I love talking about how much black Jeremy likes to wear, like a vampire. But really quick, I did want to answer some questions from the chat real quick. Obviously, the chat is going really fast, and a lot of you guys are chiming in, which is amazing. Thank you guys all for being here. I see that we got a bunch of people on YouTube right now. If you're listening on Twitch or Facebook, feel free to stay on there. We're still moderating on all of these, but we're probably going to be most active in the YouTube chat since we have the biggest group over here. In order to get your, if you have any questions or comments, or you want to throw anything out there, Adonis will be curating the questions. If you are throwing out a Adonis, actually, you want to cover that real quick?
Yeah. So if you guys are going to be
Yeah.
utilizing, we're going to be utilizing super chats pretty much the entire time, primarily because the chat is uber popping and y'all are super crazy with it. So that'll be the easiest way to at least get your questions seen. And we'll be addressing them through like obviously the discussions that we're going to be going through as well. So if you guys feel free to utilize that, is like, again, it's probably going to be the best way to at least get our attention, and we can kind of filter through those questions more easily. And we'll be going through the Twitch stuff as well. We have Fred Sully helping me out with getting questions to me as well from you guys. So yeah, so that way you guys don't have to worry about missing questions. It'd be the best way to do it is utilizing super chats for us. So gangster.
Make right on. So yeah, that's kind of the answer to the question of where we've been and what we've been doing. We have a lot of really exciting things. Like I said, we're going to be shooting first time back on set, doing some cool stuff that we like to do next week. And
So exciting.
And we were working with some cool people. We finally have Tony back on set, and hopefully we get, obviously we were not working for about a year on like these larger scale projects that we've done. So this is, things are rolling. So hopefully we can get Noel back on set, and we're all just kind of doing our thing. But to answer 3 more questions that people are going to be asking us consistently before this live stream is over is, Is there going to be more Nightwing the series? Now, many of you, we've answered this question many times, but some people are watching or listening to this for the first time. Will there be more Nightwing the series? The answer is not right now. We have no plans of doing any Nightwing the series right now, but never say never. It's
Snyder
one of those
Cut.
thing where, yeah. Hey, the Snyder Cut happened, guys. Maybe there'll be a Nightwing season 2, but right now, zero plans to do it. We do not have the resources for it or the legal freedom to do it.
Correct.
Yeah, that hopefully answers that question. The next one after that, minute matchups. Are we doing more minute matchups? And to answer that question, we'll only be doing minute matchups with those kind of live action sort of versus battles with Death Battle, because they're awesome to work with and they provide the resources that we need in order to continue making those the highest production value, dope pieces that we can. And if you guys have not seen those, definitely go to youtube.com/deathbattle, check out Daredevil versus Nightwing that we made in 2018, and check out the most recently dropped Red Hood versus Winter Soldier that just released last year. So the last question that I know
already.
last year, can you believe it?
know.
We shot that this time last year.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yep.
Yep.
Literally, we wrapped 3 days ago last year. So craziness. The last question is, will there be more Hawk Talk? And the sad truth to that, guys, is there is no plans to bring Hawk Talk back. We just don't have the time or the energy to bring it back as it once was. That being said, though, there's always a possibility that when more time and resources become available, that there will be something different, something new, a new day. Which actually, Happy Nowruz to all my Persian brothers and sisters out there. It's Persian New Year today. So, but yeah.
Well, before we get into that, I want to at least talk to some people in the super chats real quick. First of all, David Cunningham, thanks for the €5.
Yo.
Says, what it do, baby boo? Nice to
What
see
it
you guys
do?
back together. Appreciate you. We got American Joe with the $5 says, who had the better Deathstroke, Isma Hawk or SnyderCut? British boy or Joy Mango with the mohawk?
Well, I mean, Lance Brazil is a
Hey.
fantastic Deathstroke. He's a tough contender.
And
I
we
gotta
got
give
to
it to
see him
Lance, dude.
and we got to see him in action. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
we got to see
Right.
him move around, dude. And that man can move around.
Listen, you give us $100 million or however much it costs to make that Deathstroke costume, and Lance Brazil will be just as dope as
do it.
Joe
Let's do it.
Manganiello's.
Just give us the money. Just give us the money.
Someone super chat $100 million right now.
$100 million
Nightwing
super
season
chat.
two.
We got you.
Nightwing season 2 right now.
Yeah, and then the last one is David Cunningham again. What do you think about Batman dying in Easy by
Dying is
Batman is dying is easy by Bat in the Sun?
By Bat in the Sun.
I haven't seen it. So have you guys seen it at all? I haven't seen it.
I haven't
Yeah.
gotten a chance yet. I'm sure
I've
it's
watched
good.
it.
Nice.
Sure, guys in the
Um,
chat.
I liked Aaron's take on the Joker. I am a huge fan of all the actors. I mean, they had Michael Madsen in it, so big fan. They had
It's crazy.
the gentleman, and I always forget his name. He was in he's in Guillermo del Toro movies all of the time. He's the tall gentleman, the tall chap that always plays in his movies. I always forget his name.
Doug Jones.
Doug Jones. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yes. Big fan. I liked it. I liked it a lot. That's really, I mean, it's kind of all I have to say about it. It was good.
Right on.
Good job.
Nice.
Good job, Aaron. Good job, team. You guys did a
Nice.
great job.
Right on. Cool. Is that all of them?
That's it at the moment.
Boom. All right.
No.
So, guys, unless there's any further ado, maybe we should start discussing the Snyder Cut.
What's
Ooh.
that?
Never heard of it.
But-
None of us have
but-
ever heard of it.
Love that we said that at the same time. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I have not watched that 3 times. What is that?
Right.
before we
Watching
begin
it
the
3 or 4
Snyder
times. That's like literally the entire time without.
Yep.
Before we begin the Snyder Cut conversation, I have to we got to go to give a throwback to the old Hawk Talk stuff. So hello and welcome to Hawk Talk. It's Mahawk's Geek Culture Podcast where we talk about geek stuff, nerdy stuff, and all sorts of awesome. My name is Danny Shepard, and joining me, as always, is my lovable band of ridiculous men, starting with Noel Shefflin,
What?
Tony Smith,
What it do, baby boo?
Jeremy Lee,
That young.
and Adonis Xavier.
That wet. Let's go.
With the wet. Okay, we're doing it.
Why
We're
you gotta
going.
do that?
All right, we're doing it again.
Whoa.
All right. Well, let's. I just want to hear overall impressions of the Snyder Cut from everybody. Obviously, this isn't like a big formal review, but I feel like we should probably give our overall understanding of how we felt about it, and then maybe jump into like talking about the different parts and go from there.
Yes.
So,
Part 1.
part one.
Part 1. The review.
Overall, what did everybody think?
Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I vividly remember the day that Jeremy and I commuted to California to go see this movie on a 70 millimeter print, allegedly. And I remember when I hadn't seen a trailer at the time. So I didn't know how bad it was going to be. So like I wasn't prepared. I don't know if that was the case for Jeremy, but I mean,
you knew the very first shot when it opened.
That's what I'm saying. The very first shot, I was like, oh.
Dude, with the cell phone footage of Superman, like when that shot faded in, we both just looked at each other. And then we looked back at the screen. Oh, what did we get ourselves into? Yeah.
So the first 5 minutes of the Snyder Cut is already better than the entire. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it, dude. Zack Snyder truly cares for like these characters and this world. And like, I enjoyed the way he built it. I enjoyed the way the images just look like moving comic panels. And like, it's clear that he had memories of his favorite panels, if not references directly in front of him. And he's like, I just want to do this in live action, bro. Can you imagine this shot moving? I thoroughly enjoyed it. It just felt like I was eating popcorn the whole time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. What'd you think, Tone?
Oh, it's my turn. I don't think I think I have like maybe 1 or 2 slight pieces of negative feedback. That's how much I enjoyed it. I've watched it 3 times now. So I don't think that it is a perfect film by any means, but I think it was perfect for us DC fans. Like, I think it was something that it's also kind of frustrating for me because for a lot of reasons, right? And we can get into that a little bit later, but I think like just to give you an overview, I just don't understand why they just didn't let him do his job. You know, like can you just let him do his job? Like, it's very obvious that the man has an idea of what he wants. And I almost like, it's kind of like frustrating, but also bittersweet at the same time, because it's an amazing film and I love it so much. And it's exactly what it should have been back then. That's, I guess, the bittersweet part. But also the sweet part about that is that maybe they take this into context, right? Like, okay, so you see, like, do you see now when you just let the man, like, you entrusted this person to do this job, and then when you let them do it, do you see what happens? So now, hopefully, they can move forward. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it. There's so many moments, like we were talking about it just briefly last night, and there's so many moments I feel like I have to like write down on a piece of paper, like in note format, like how many moments I just was in love with.
I can't forget to refer to this exact moment.
Yeah,
right.
Like I just like, there are so many moments, and to me, I think it was like the DC masterpiece that Zack Snyder wanted to make from the very beginning, and that's kind of what we got. And I was really happy.
I feel like it was just more than anything. This was just a matter of principle. Like you hire someone to do the job, especially like the kind of like you hired a person to lead your universe or your franchise or whatever, and you're on one of the biggest moments of whatever this franchise was going to be, and then you just pull the plug right when he was about to finish. Like, that just sucks, man. That sucks for anyone working in this. Well, not just work, like, sucks for anyone in general in whatever it is you do. Like, that's not cool. And especially using his daughter as a scapegoat, like, that ain't cool either. Like, that's the most not cool.
Oh,
So,
man.
like, if anything, this was more of a principle. Like, just let him finish the damn movie. Just make the damn movie. Just make the movie.
Right. They were intruding with Batman versus Superman. Just that was the sequel. They didn't even let the man release the sequel that he wanted to.
You
let him do his job.
That person to do the job, so let him do the job. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, Jeremy. And that's one of the reasons why I think we had to have a conversation about this, like, live, because we all know we're gonna sit. It don't matter when things are starting to get back to normal now, and like we're all gonna sit. Adonis is gonna make the trip soon, probably sooner rather than later. He's gonna be in Vegas soon, and we're all gonna have a conversation about it. So is Fred, so is Preston and Jimmy. If they're not here already, I actually don't know. We'll talk about it later. But you're here. I love you.
We'll
Cool.
show 'em.
We can see
We'll
each other.
reveal 'em.
But that's what I mean. Like,
Preston and Jimmy will jump in later.
we're all gonna have a conversation about it. We're all gonna, be ourselves and be I'm gonna be passionate about it. So I think it was kind of like, it kind of makes me sad though too, because I feel like this is like a Blade Runner situation where it's like, I mean, hopefully it turns into a situation where like any cinephile knows you watch the director's cut of Blade Runner. You don't watch the original cut. And hopefully that's what happens with Justice League. Like the Snyder cut is just, no, that's Justice League. Whatever this Frankenstein monster was prior to that is a hot slice of pig posterior that you don't watch.
I thoroughly enjoyed Snyder's cut, but I don't know if it was because I had already been tainted by Whedon's cut, and my expectation was so low that going into the Snyder cut was like, yeah, anything that's gonna happen is gonna be way better, and so I enjoyed it more. But I don't know, like I had to noodle on it for a minute, and at this point, I would say that I had fun watching the movie. Honestly, I don't know, man. I actually had fun. Obviously, it's not a perfect movie, and I'm not sure if I'm still on board with the kind of aesthetic that they're going with this DCEU, like, I guess, production design and like in terms of the look and style of it. But I could suspend that while watching this movie because it was enjoyable.
Very enjoyable. Very entertaining. I'm glad you enjoyed it, dude.
Yeah.
I think
I'm glad I did too.
I'm in agreement. I think, I mean, for those that don't know, like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I went to a VFX panel for Kong versus Godzilla here in Queensland. And the VFX team for that, the guy that was running the VFX team was the guy that ran the VFX team for Justice League. And he had basically told the story of when Zack Snyder sat him down before Man of Steel, and laid out the entirety of the DCEU that he saw that he was going to do, that he wanted his team to be on. And he was like, what you guys saw, and this is the first time I heard the term Justice League. He's like, we call it Justice League. When, and he was kind of giving us some of the things that were supposed to happen in the movie. And you could hear the audience like, are you like just devastated?
Yeah.
Like devastated. Cause we're like, we didn't get that at all. Like we didn't get any of it. So being able to see this was, because like when people were like, oh, well, Justice League, blah, blah. And I'm trying to explain it from the perspective of what I heard this guy talking to Zack Snyder about what the plans were of like how the Justice League movie connects BVS and Man of Steel and all these things, where it wasn't a traditional like linear storyline, how Marvel was telling their stuff of, hey, we're going to have these characters of individual movies and then have a meetup movie. It's like, yeah, they did it that way, but he wants to do it this way. And we never got any of these payoffs because they took all the payoffs out of the movie. So we were like, how does this movie make any sense to what the fuck we just saw? Yeah. So I think in that sense, it was one of those things where for me, I was so excited to kind of get that. And watching the movie, there was moments where I felt like I was going to tear up just because I was excited and happy to see moments that made these characters sing in a way that they did not get a chance to in the cut that we saw.
I totally agree.
Would
Like
you
they're
say that
actually
they
characters?
had? Would you say that they were given justice?
I mean, look, I had literally tweeted and did like a review right after I watched the movie, and the tweet was #SnyderCut equals redemption. Like it just felt like the movie got a chance to do what it needed to do. So for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Yeah.
I think it's just because I had fun watching this movie. Like, a lot of times when I'm watching media, the way that I personally kind of critique it, because there's a difference between, critiquing a piece of work versus asking, did you have fun with it? Because I had fun with the Snyder Cut. Now, if we were to sit down and like really dive into all the nuances on the filmmaking side of things, then we can sit here for over 4 hours and just kind of like pull apart every little detail, like, oh, it should have gone this way or that way, or like I'm not really into that kind of style. But like watching this, I could suspend all of those things in my mind and be like, okay, I don't mind all the slow motion. The whole movie was slow-mo, but that was an artistic choice, and that was like, he's going for moving painting. That's all of Snyder's movies. And with that in mind, I'm like, okay, I'm watching a Snyder movie. I'll take it as that. So
Exactly.
I definitely think it's a massive, massive win for artistic integrity. Massive win for
Agreed.
artistic integrity. I think that, like, here's the thing. Like, would not make the same decisions that Zack Snyder made if I was
because
given
we're not the same people.
No, if I was in his position, I would have made completely different decisions in a lot of different things. But that being said, like, I really, really had a good time. There were so many times where I kept turning to Angela and just being like, "Oh my God, that's this person. Oh, Ryan Choi, he's the Atom."
Yeah, dude.
I'm just like, I'm like
facts.
geeking out on DC, and I'm just like, it's not like in a way that like. It felt like it was so cool to see things that I had never seen before as a massive DC fan. I was like, this is so rad. And again, like, I think if you're going to hire this dude to make this series, like, let him make his series, man. Don't let him make his movie halfway through. Like, let him shoot his entire movie and then, like, unceremoniously rip it from his hands and then give us some really tasteless excuse that I think people are going to look back at and say that was probably not a good look.
Literally,
But
like taints everyone's opinions about the rest of the DCEU too.
Right.
it's a big cringe. But there was so much. I would have to say that, like, there's so many things that I loved and enjoyed, and like it made me so happy and like made me emotional. And then there are things where I was just like, like kind of made me roll my eyes in some ways, and like I felt was like, this is not and some things I think are, I will check my fanboyism and know that I am very close to these characters and I do have my own headcanon, and I understand that, and I know that is going to cause me to look at things in a slightly different way. But for the most part, like, I had a really good time. I like.
Me too, man.
That Wonder Woman, that was like the Wonder Woman fight scenes, man. Were,
Oh my God.
like, they did it
Yeah,
for me.
dude.
Also,
So
just
good.
the fact
So-
that we were all excited about the cameos or like little Easter eggs and stuff, because
Right,
we're not
right.
watching such a bad movie that you don't even care about those Easter eggs anymore.
Right.
True.
I have a really hard time with that. I just don't like. That's just so much wasted resources. That first film, it's just like, what happened? What happened?
It felt like it was a complete, and like I know in our last review, people are going to be like, "Hey, in your last review, you said you liked it." We, after marinating and discussing this thing for 4 years, we. Like I remember I watched it a second time. I think after we recorded our review, and kind of turned to Angela and I was like, I wanted to love this movie so badly, but I think I might hate it.
You know what it is?
Because it's everything that it feels so disingenuous and unearned, and it hurts my soul as a fan. You know
what it reminded me of? It reminded me of watching the prequels to Star Wars, where you want to love it. You want to love it. You're like, oh, I'm back in this universe.
You probably did walk outside of the theater,
and you were excited. Yeah, you were excited that this is. But then, like sitting with it, and you're just like, am I wanting to love it more than I actually love it?
Oh, that was me.
That was
me.
And I think Justice League for all of us, we kind of had a little bit of that. More so in denial as hell, right?
And here's the thing. Like, I remember watching there were so many moments in Justice League where I was like, man, that was a dope moment, man. That fight scene with Superman versus the League was like, was lit, dude. That was so cool. Yeah. And then there's like the aesthetic of the Flash, like the Flash's effects and some of the designs, and I'm a big fan of the casting. And I was like, I like these things, but I just don't like anything else. And then you watch the Snyder Cut and you're like, oh, hey, all my favorite things that I liked about the Justice League are in this, so they were clearly these.
Yeah,
Zack, like the Superman
waking up
scene?
At his memorial. That's like almost shot for shot. The same.
Shot for shot.
Joss Whedon didn't barely touch that.
Nah.
Real quick, because I wanna get some of these people in the super chat some love real quick. We got Sebastian K that said, Danny was a big inspiration for me in terms of filmmaking, but I'm falling out of interest with the industry due to elite politics. What should I do?
Here's the thing, man. You can't worry about stuff like that because at the end of the day, there's so many different ways to be a filmmaker. I mean, we don't work in the industry. I mean, like we work inside and outside of Hollywood. But we are very much an independent production company. We built, like a lot of people from here have seen grassroots how we've built this thing. If you want to do it and you're passionate about it, and this is something that you dream about doing, then like worry about the politics later and sharpen your sword and hone your craft first. Or find something that you are passionate about and don't mind navigating, and do this as a hobby. Right. You can do either. It just depends on what you're passionate about,
Well, we got Riv says, and also thank you guys for the super chats, man. It's amazing.
Hell yeah.
Riv says, love you guys. Happy to see you again. And do you guys watch anime? And if so, what's the most recent one you've seen?
Do we watch anime? Come on, bro.
Danny's name is legally Danime, but he had to change it to Danny because
that's what
school.
That's where we went because of school.
Right. My parents were like, this kid, I'm gonna love. He's gonna love anime so much. We're gonna call him Danime.
I'm out of here. I gotta go.
All right, see you, Tony.
There, Tony.
We'll miss you. See you in 3 years.
I'm gonna delete you from your phone. You're gonna delete me from your
my
phone?
life.
Yeah, bro.
You're not allowed anymore.
Wow.
Wow.
Adonis, what was his name? What was the person asking the question? I'm sorry.
It was Riv.
Riv, big anime fan. I know me and Adonis are probably the biggest anime fans right now. I am jonesing on some Attack on Titan. I just started Jujutsu Kaisen because of Adonis has been suggesting it to me.
How is it so far?
I'm digging it.
Okay.
It's good.
I'm a big Attack on Titan fan as well. Danny got me hooked on it. Yeah, it's basically the Game of Thrones of anime, which,
it is.
You already know how I feel about Game of Thrones, and if you don't, go check out Hawk Talk sometime. I can't stop talking about it.
Hey.
I stand by my GOT.
I still haven't watched it.
Okay.
I'm waiting to binge everything. I know everyone.
Attack on Titan?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Dude, I was like, are you talking about Game of Dude? we've watched Game of Thrones together. What are you talking
I
about?
haven't seen Game of Thrones.
We should try to stick. We should try to stick
So-
on the Snyder
Yeah, yeah.
cut.
So-
We'll answer the questions real quick, and then we'll
Yeah.
jump right back to it.
Anime right now, Jujutsu Kaisen is what I'm watching currently. Well, I'm watching a lot, but that's probably the most. That One Piece. I'll be getting back into Boruto. I'm in the manga right now. I'm already caught up on that. Yeah, I watch anime heavy. So yes.
Check out Adonis's YouTube channel, Absolutely Geeked. Somebody, if one of our mods can post a link to his channel in the description, he is the biggest anime guy and does a lot of great anime content. So check him out,
appreciate it.
subscribe, give him some love. And yeah, let's jump to that next super
We got
chat.
Sir Eggplant with the $100.
My
Make it
man.
holla. Yo, he said, yo, it's Kai.
Oh,
Well,
Kai.
Yeah.
What up, Kai?
Thank you,
Have
Kai.
the duck out now. I haven't finished the Snyder cut, but always happy to support my boys. And there's a little something on Streamlabs too. XOXO.
Dude,
Appreciate
Kai.
you, Kai.
MVP.
People
Kai
are
is the
real.
MVP.
I love
Appreciate
Kai.
all you
you, brother.
guys, all of you guys, Kai, Soro, every single one of you guys who's been following us for the longest time, who's
Yeah.
in this chat, even though we haven't been super active in a little while, like
Yeah.
just know how much we appreciate and love you guys. That kind of support is it means the world. So thank you guys so
Seriously.
much.
For sure.
Seriously.
All the
Cody
love, guys.
Bond.
Thank you.
Says, I love how everyone has changed and Jeremy just looks the same.
Yeah.
Hope you all been well, and I want Jeremy's hat. Danny, never shave that beard.
You're like
Always keep it.
you're like
Might be
Art
out of hats
Downey
at this
Jr. bro.
point.
We gotta sell these hats, man. People need to.
We gotta
people
get
need
more
to.
hats.
We gotta get more hats.
Get
we gotta get more hats.
Hats are tight.
Uh, we got
Go ahead.
we got Aaron David in here. What's up, Aaron David?
What up,
What
Aaron?
up?
Ooh.
Mr. Crew, thank you for this. Have you guys checked out the new Titans show? If so, what's your take on the version of Nightwing / Jason Todd?
I'll be honest. I have not
Never
checked out
shaved that.
Titans. I'm sorry,
Me neither.
guys.
I haven't checked it out.
I've seen some of the set photos and some of like the sequences, but I haven't like dedicated myself to watching it. I don't know, you guys. I'm gonna be really honest here with you and not appeal to the masses. I have a really hard time with the DC shows. Like I spent a lot of time with Flash. I spent a lot of time with Arrow. I just have a hard time with them, man. It's almost like you can only. It's like The Walking Dead. Like I can only give you so much of my time. Like, and I know that I need to do that with Titans. I get it, but it's like it kind of has left a black stain, so to speak, in my opinion, because like I just don't trust the shows yet or anymore. And
Got you.
I could totally be, jumping the gun on that, but I just had a really hard time with the DC shows after a while.
I have watched Titans. To put it diplomatically, it is not my cup of tea.
Alright.
But there are some really cool scenes in it. Like there are some really dope moments. I loved the intro of I like the relationship between Jason and Dick in the show a lot. Yeah. It's just not my cup of tea. Like it just doesn't appeal to me. That's all. I don't think it's bad. It's not
your
my
style.
thing. It's not my style. That's all. And that's cool. Like it appeals to some, obviously it sucks Jason and Dick in the show. 3 seasons now or something. So I love the dude that plays. Like I'm excited to see Red Hood, and I'm excited to see Nightwing. Like we're finally getting to that point. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do.
I feel like Titans is going to be a show that I'm going to get in on a little later.
Don't
And
know,
it
seasons
seems
now or
like a show
something?
that's
So,
going to get better with time as they kind of get their footing and develop the characters. So that's really what my hang-up's been. I've just been kind of waiting. They announced Red Hood, so I'm like, oh, bro, well, we'll see next season. But
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to hold off for the rest of the super chats. When we get more into the discussion, we'll come back to the super chats in a little bit.
A little bit. All right. So, let's now that we kind of hit everybody's sort of first impressions of the Snyder Cut.
Why do you say it like that? By the way,
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't actually said it like that until the stream started. I feel like it's just coming
He
out of me.
likes it. No,
It's like
Okay, that's fine. You're right. You're right.
the podcasting juices are starting to flow again.
Right.
The
he likes it. No,
weirdness.
just leave him. Leave
You're
him be.
absolutely right.
Just let me be me, man. Come
I'm
on.
sorry, Danny. You're right.
But yeah, so part one.
Dude.
Say it ain't so, Batman.
Bro,
No, what was it? It was.
Can we just say that the start of this movie is fucking mint.
Bro,
Like
So much
how
fun.
it explained how and why the mother box is actually activated in the first place.
Dude, the
and
way-
knowing
the way Zack Snyder can tell a story with no dialogue or sometimes just one word, like the word Martha, like the way he just tells a story with 0 words, like I'm like, I know what's happening and I don't even know how Superman works. I just know that he screamed hella loud and that shit traveled.
right.
And like, you know what I mean? Like, and like,
Mhm.
it's just beautiful, dude. Like, so good.
Visually, that's I mean, okay, just like, look, I don't want to keep on ragging on the Joss Whedon cut. We all know, everybody knows. But like, just compare the opening shot of this movie to the opening shot to like the cell phone footage that was clearly shot on the Alexa.
With Superman's distorted face.
Yeah, that was
Erased mustache.
Oh, man. Yeah, erased Dude, remember when I realized it was a mustache?
No,
you guys?
bro.
Do you remember that conversation I had with you? I literally was like, "Hey, why does his face look so weird?"
Bro,
you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Bro,
I was like,
yeah.
"Why does his face look so weird?"
I don't think I got to talk to you guys about this. So even at that panel, because people were asking why did y'all do that, right? And he was like, they're like, look, they wanted to do reshoots, right? And they were like, look, they're like, well, we can just do the CG. And they were like, look, let's just show them that it's not a good idea to do it. So they did it, and they're
job.
like, oh, that'll work. And they were like, no, that's not what we were trying to say. I was like, oh my God, Jesus.
It's like, here, look, this is why it's terrible. Oh yeah, that we approve that. Let's go.
We like that.
No.
I'm like, damn, I
back
just
to-
want to punch you in the face.
But back to the actual Snyder cut. Yeah, that opening scene, the opening like sort of sequence where we see
Prologue, if you will.
the prologue where so the thing that I loved about this right off the bat is that it felt instantly like it was instantly continuous of
Yes.
Batman v Superman. I was
Which
like,
is
oh,
what
whoa.
Batman versus Superman felt like with Man of Steel, how we
Correct.
got Batman's perspective. Like, I love how
Right.
layered his movies are. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
There's like a little bit of crossover on top, and it really worked for me. We go to we see Atlantis, which is completely different than the Aquaman movie, and then we see Themyscira, which I gotta say, for me personally, Themyscira and Wonder Woman was personally my favorite part of the movie. I was a big fan of all the Wonder Woman stuff. I might have just because I didn't love 84. It just didn't feel tonally consistent with the rest with what had been set up with Wonder
Agreed.
Woman in the past.
Same.
It felt like it was more like paying homage to the TV series. So this felt like, man, that like, oh, dude, like that scene where she was like beating
Dude.
in the you know what I'm talking. I'm sorry, I can't even speak because it's my favorite scene in the movie is when she's in that like bank or something.
Yeah, dude.
It's like a
That whole
bank
sequence, by the way, the way that whole sequence plays out in the Snyder cut versus the theatrical cut is so beautiful. Like,
Bro.
we track him through the entire bank. My guy shoots up the building. Like, when
Bro.
like people are complaining, Wonder Woman killed. First of all, she kills before, but secondly, she
She didn't just kill. She murked them.
she marked
Yeah,
her, but like
yeah.
the dude also was about to like several times try to shoot up a school of children. Like, she walked into a bank full of bodies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like these people have made their decisions. So Wonder Woman was like, all right, I just gotta take care of him. And like,
Sure.
bro, she tossed him. You know how
No,
when
she threw them through a brick wall, but they didn't go through.
right, dude. You know how much we loved. Danny, I'm talking to you specifically. How much we loved how the fighting looked like in Man of Steel. How it looked like how Dragon Ball Z should look like in live. Like, that's what I thought with Wonder Woman. Like, the way
Yes.
she was moving was so sick, dude.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
it was like when in Man of Steel, the way that she was moving, of course, she would be faster than
Right.
98% of people on Earth. Obviously she's not.
And then
she's not faster
than what we can register. So
yeah, we
only
can't
see some of
register
it.
how fast that is.
Right.
Yeah, so she can dodge bullets. Like, of course she can do that
I mean, she
I just-
straight up blocked all of those bullets from a fully automatic rifle.
with
was
her
like-
with her wrists.
But
What?
can
Her
we?
wrists.
But like, okay, so the moment was awesome. But can we all agree that it might, just might, Diana, have been a bit overkill to use your strongest ability.
You could have just
on this
kicked him out the
dude
window, dude.
That
who
was a
is
statement.
reloading.
Yeah, she was
That
just
was a
flexing.
She was like,
bro.
you know what?
I'm with it.
I don't like you. Like
I'm with it. I'm with
I'm
it.
feeling
She
it
like,
today.
she like, you know what? Use a bitch.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I got the time. Let me oblige you.
But she's like,
Right.
it's like, what do you? That was the only part of that sequence that made me go, but what? Like, you're just gonna blow the
bit much.
shit out of the side of this building.
Yep,
With one of your
100%.
toughest attacks. This dude who is
Yep.
no longer a threat, you could zip over to him and pop his head off.
Yep.
you're gonna.
I wonder
You're
who's
just gonna.
paying for that collateral.
Zip diddy doo
Not
dah.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
reminds
thought
me,
that was, I thought it was
Jeremy.
fire.
That reminds me of an Incredibles 2. Do you remember like when they had that conversation? I know this is kind of off topic, but like it's still on the same topic of like superheroes. Like that's a super interesting question. And it always like kind of like comes up in my mind because, you know, like as you get older, the more fiscally sound you become, hopefully. But like I'm always thinking
Not
like
the Avengers.
who pays for all this? Like
right. Not
like
the Avengers.
what? Who?
That's what the Sokovia Accords are for.
I'm
They don't
sorry,
have those
you're
in
right.
the DCEU yet.
A little
I mean,
behind.
look, I think in that sequence though, and we had talked about this over on Cyberhype, is you can tell that Zack Snyder is a fan of anime.
Oh,
There's
100%.
things
I
there,
think so,
like
yeah.
even like in this movie, the whole like eye sequence with Flash, like there's stuff where you're
Bro.
like, this is anime as shit. Like there's just stuff that he does that you're like, dude, you
Dude,
watch
you triggered
anime,
me.
dude.
Right.
part-
Straight up the way they fight is just anime.
Like
Well,
there's just
the
anime
character-
stuff.
One of the characters in Man of Steel, one of the big guy he fights in Smallville, his name is Namek.
Yeah.
NAM-EK.
Hey,
And
I
it's like-
respect that.
Clearly,
you
he's a
did there.
I
DBZ
respect
fan.
that.
Fool's name is Namek.
I respect that.
Did you know that? Is that
No.
news to you?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
You,
That's awesome.
Zach, you loyal.
Hey,
You loyal.
Adonis, are you referring to the part where the Flash is running by Superman? Or is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that part, the way that was shot, dude.
Bro.
I was like, dude, that setup, that whole setup, like
Bro.
on a camera level, the way that they shot that from view to view, and you just see that one moment where he's side like that, and he just,
The eyeball. Beep.
and you just,
And then Flash is like,
yeah, dude, there was like two
Bro.
shots where he's just like,
It's
are you
Bro,
fucking for real,
that is
dude?
so anime, bro. That is
Yeah.
an anime thing.
Yep.
I'm just like, bruh,
Man,
I was
you
like,
wildin'.
it's so lit. I get so hyped watching that.
I
man.
know that
Same.
was so dope. I was like, oh, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. You need to run. I was like, bro, you need to get
Oh,
out
you're running
of
right
there.
now. You need to run.
You need to run. No, you need to leave. Yeah, dude.
So with that first act, right? Like, did you like the more of a setup with the Aquaman situation? Like, how did you feel about that? Because I felt like, to me, it felt way more cohesive.
Yeah.
Way more
Man, movie.
cohesive. Like
As-
it showed. Go ahead, Jeremy. My bad.
Especially since the whole opening was set up so that you get this kind of slow roll in from all of these like different points of the world, basically, because it did affect the whole world.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. You see
okay,
it.
so that really honestly from like, let me see here. I wrote this down. I'm sorry. Give me one
My
second.
man's got notes.
Hey,
I had to.
You brought
And literally
receipts.
I said that like leading into this, guys, I only have like maybe one or two slight pieces of negative feedback. And the first, like I obviously I enjoyed that, the fact that he showed us and that's how he told us why those mother boxes were basically, they woke up. Like, I thought that was like, okay, thank you for that. I really appreciate it, because no one really understood it, including myself.
Right.
The only thing that I had an issue with was like, there was a 5-minute period where the tone was really sporadic for me. Like it was just, it went from like one, and I understand that. Like obviously he mitigated that as much as they possibly could. It
What
was
part is this?
unavoidable.
what part is this?
It was like it was after the sequence of seeing Superman and the mother boxes opening up, like basically getting awake. And I think it was like minute 8 to like minute 13 in that area where it was like there was like random like slow-mo shots. and then it was like in different sequences, and then it was like that really weird moment with like the Nordic a cappella moment where like all those
I agree with that.
all those I
moment
was
right
just like
there. That went on a little long. I
Are
understand.
you talking about the Aquaman part?
You're talking about the Aquaman part, right? Like
Yeah.
where the,
but not in the
yep.
entire Aquaman part.
You're
like,
talking about the Icelandic
Yes,
singing.
Icelandic.
Or
That was weird.
Really,
It was really strange.
really.
I was like,
I didn't
what are we
get that
setting
either.
up here? I was like,
I was like,
what
what?
is this? What is this? What are we doing?
But there was no payoff with it, so I was kind of like, I don't know what that was for.
Why is she
like,
smelling his
and why
sweater?
is she smell my man's like?
Why is she smelling, dude?
So let me
And
try
they
to
gave her a
give you some
close-up.
context for why I think that was there.
Okay.
Please.
My dog's
Shed
about
some
to
light.
scratch his head, so if you hear like a weird noise in the background, that's what that is. But so
It's you.
yeah, it's me scratching my head like a
Right.
So at the when we see Aquaman, or when Bruce is introduced to Aquaman, like the way he tells the story of how Aquaman comes to this land, like he tells it like a fairy tale, like a folk
Right.
tale. And so I imagine like that's just how this town reveres Aquaman. And like anytime he leaves, I don't know, we don't know. We very briefly see like the status of this village, of this town, and like it doesn't seem like super developed like other cities. So I just wonder if like that's their god, that's their people. That's like, you know what I mean? So like that's I do agree it dragged on a bit longer than it should have, but like
For sure.
that's why I think that was there.
So I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy
I get
the
you. It just kind of like
transitions.
stopped the story for a second. You're just
yeah.
like, this goes on for a bit.
I
Like
didn't. It
long.
wasn't that I didn't enjoy the transitions. The transitions, like that, Zack is a master at transitions. Like he is, like that transition between that part to seeing Martha, and it like fades out, and like even the ending shot of it was that shot from behind her.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like a
I agree.
mid close, and it faded out. I thought that was gorgeous.
Here's a little film tip. Like if you find yourself cutting back to the same angles more than 2 or 3 times, then yeah, it's probably going on a little long. And if you noticed, like that shot from behind her, there's a shot from 3/4 front side over there, and it cut back like several times. And I'm like, this is definitely going on a bit long.
For sure.
The transition, dope. Just trim that and transition faster.
Yeah,
Like,
trim the fat.
My problem is they also like you're giving this character a close up for no reason.
Exactly.
Like
Like,
we
who
have
is she?
no.
You're also like implying with the close up that she has
Something is
importance
important
to the plot somehow.
Exactly.
His daughter.
And
but
then she
there
just
isn't.
sniffs the sweater, and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, is this like what,
What's going on?
Unless
What-
they
what's
cut out
happening
something
here?
that is not in this cut.
Maybe.
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt they
Right.
cut out anything.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. No, I'm sure
Anything
Zack
they
Snyder
added
still
stuff.
cut stuff out. Apparently, there was a couple of stuff that was left out ultimately.
Yeah,
but
from what I understand, like that was like his pitch though. Like once he like find his pitch, this was then his new pitch and vision, and this is what he wanted. But like before, there were other things that he wanted to do that studio was like no, and he's like, okay, yeah, maybe you're right, let me just do this.
I mean, I think that's the thing too, right? Where like that, my only complaint on the movie, from a technical standpoint, at least for me, was they could have cut 20 minutes out of this film, maybe 30. At 3.5 hours, that could have lived in the theaters, like
100%.
And I think the annoyance of the Justice League makes that even worse, where it's like y'all cut the movie down and cut out literal moments that you needed to tell the story that you were trying to tell.
They did the same thing in Batman v Superman.
For sure. And then it almost seemed like it was a deliberate way of trying to end the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
Because anything that connected this movie to future ideas was gone.
Yep.
Anything that connected it to anything future happening was out.
Right.
So you're just kind of like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, So yeah, but I think there was definitely fat that he could have removed for it to actually live in the theaters with his version of the movie.
Agreed.
And that, I mean, they did that same, like, yeah, a healthy balance. And I think like some of the slow mo and some of those moments that just kind of like
Lingered a tad.
the Icelandic part toward the end, it really didn't need to be there and could have shaved off some time. But like again, that's Zack Snyder. That's that is his style, and like that is, you let him do whatever he wants to do. This is what he's gonna do, and frankly, I don't really blame him I don't really blame him. I would
Hey,
do this.
you know,
I would
at the end
I
of
would
the
put all
day-
my favorite stuff in too.
Right, and at the end of the day, he gave those people a job. Like that's dope too. They
No,
get to
of
say, hey, mom, look
course.
at me on screen in Justice League. So it's
Yeah,
like
sure.
that's cool. Like
Yeah.
Usually, you have to be the one who kills your darlings on a passion project, but
Yeah.
and it's like I'm
He
gonna
got the
bring all
second
my
chance.
darlings to life.
yeah.
Right.
Well, that's
But
what he's known
everything.
for too. Yeah, you watch even when I know that Danny hates this movie, but like the 300, like there are so many shots where like this is a slow-mo shot, dude, and it's like long. Like why are we just staring at Leonidas's pecs right now? Like what
Because
do
we
we?
can.
Dude,
Because we can.
300's an hour-long movie. It's just the slow-mo extended.
I know. It's just like yeah.
I will say I love the way the Snyder Cut is presented like an epic. Like it has a
Yeah.
prologue,
Yeah.
it has acts, and the story's completely told in the act. So like the pacing feels smooth, like it
Right.
and like you can feel free to pause, take a bathroom break, fill up your drink or whatever, and like it doesn't feel like you're missing much at all because like everything just flows so smooth. Like I will say that the slow-mo did inflate the movie to 4 hours. I feel like you can trim 20 minutes just with trimming down the slow-mo, honestly, and you can keep all the story beats exactly in there. But Steppenwolf, bro, can we talk about Steppenwolf?
Yes,
We
we
can
can.
talk about
Well,
Steppenwolf,
first of all,
I
he
think.
Yes, we
looks
can.
way better.
Dude,
Oh
can.
my God.
He looks 100% better.
armor,
like he's not in the uncanny valley anymore. You can I can look at his face and not feel uncomfortable.
exactly.
Via,
Like you
my
know.
brother said my brother on the stream earlier was like, dude, he looked like the Wish version. Like, the Josh Whedon looked like he got ordered from Wish.
Oh my
I was like, damn, bro.
That's so accurate. That's so accurate, dude.
Bro.
The
like-
inclusion of Darkseid as the big boss and then
Dude.
making Steppenwolf sort of this fallen warrior, it gave him so much more depth and made him
Yeah.
so much less generic. That's
Right.
why I don't get, like, I get what people are saying when they say, oh, it's the same movie. It's because, like, yeah, it has the same scenes. Obviously, it's going
Right.
to still be similar in that way. But, like,
Right.
the motivation of the villain is completely
Dude,
different.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's so
completely
much
different.
Did they edit
Desaad?
his voice?
Oh, Desaad.
Probably.
Desaad. Oh, dude, Desaad and Granny Goodness? Oh,
Bro.
dude, we got
What-
Granny Goodness in here?
Right? Like
Yo, I think that was the dopest part for me anyways, was, that sequence in Themyscira when he popped up, right? Like, first of all, show them your fear. We have no fear. Fire.
so
Yo,
cool,
I
bro.
wrote
That
that
was
down
dope.
in my notes.
And the
Bro,
way they
like,
we have no
immediately,
fear.
the way they immediately were like self-destruct this bitch, like we
Bro.
gotta stop it, and they're like
Right.
efficient. They were like, do
Right.
the damn thing.
So
some
that
300 shit
sequence,
right there, bro.
for people that don't remember, in the theatrical, when they left, he cuts through the gate and leaves that way and jumps, right? This to me felt dope because it was like, it didn't just fodderize the Amazons. It was
Right.
like, look, we're gonna hold you in here.
Mhm.
You in here, we're gonna jump you. We jumping you right now.
We're
It's like
Jump you.
God's duty to protect this,
Right. So it falls. She feels like, okay, we got it. And then he flies out like, bitch, I'm from space. Like, oh
Bruh.
shit. Like,
yeah.
like
I'm from space.
like I just thought that was it. Would to me, it told that same sequence way better. Of
Yes.
like, look, you guys don't got this. Like, you
And
don't
bruh,
got
he
it.
was slashing through
Oh.
them. Oh
Dude,
man.
the
That axe.
violence. I was here for the blood, and I was here for the
Same here,
violence. I was
dude.
like,
Oh.
give
And
me the
he
all
does
the
it to
gore.
everybody. He does it to everybody.
Bro.
He don't care, bro. He's
Right.
just like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna chop you in half
Right.
with
Yeah,
this
those
big ass
Atlanteans?
axe that I got.
Bro, did you see that sequence when
Murked.
she shot the arrow to send the box?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as the axe came down on
Yeah, all
her,
the
it
blood?
like lit her
Yeah,
her
dude.
face up with electricity. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
well, dude, if you look at the
Savage.
shot of the actual arrow and them catching it, you can see how much time that the VFX artists put to show you what actually happens to her.
Exactly.
Right.
She
Right.
dude, she combusts. Like
Right.
she blows up.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
That's
like,
good
God, you can see like
Right.
all this blood, and he's just like, they're like, oh,
Right.
oh, shit,
Also-
man.
Zack Snyder knows how to paint a picture,
Yeah.
bro.
He really does.
Yeah.
Going back to that scene, and this is present throughout the whole movie, you get all these small emotional beats that you missed out on for all these other characters, even if they're not important. Like, not that she's not important, but what's her name? Queen of the Amazons.
Hippolyta.
Hippolyta.
Hippolyta. When she was
Hippolyta.
down.
That sounds like a disease, bro.
Hermione.
Hey, you got that Hippolyta, huh?
Yeah,
damn it.
But when she was
no.
looking down into the ocean after the whole thing went into, like, they took it down, just simple close up. That's it, of her eyes looking into the water. That's all you need. For some reason, I don't think like these small moments were in the Justice.
Right.
Well, yeah, because that whole sequence was different. That whole he literally cut out of the door and chased them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
missed opportunities there. But
Yeah.
Dude.
Snyder brought it back.
Like it was in the Joss cut, but the shooting the arrow with the box and catching it on horseback and then jumping from horse to horse, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's
It just
go.
shows you
Let's
like
go,
how
man. The
efficient
Amazons.
these warriors are, and like,
Bro.
dude, imagine if
Yeah.
they had technology that Bruce had. They would. Oh, are you kidding me, bro? Like,
I will say the power scaling in this movie is kind of weird, like a little all
Yeah.
over the place, because you see the Amazons like flipping, jumping, horseback riding, and like doing all these crazy feats of strength, and then at the end when the horse got flung on top of one of them, you couldn't
couldn't
lift
get it
the
off of
horse
her.
off.
Yeah.
Like
I think
know.
it might have shattered her shit though. I think it might have
Well,
that sound effects.
I think I think the Amazons, and somebody in the chat who is who knows a lot about the Amazons on Themyscira, like I think that they're peak human. I don't know if they're like, that's why Wonder Woman is like a god even compared to them. They're
Right.
immortal but peak human.
Okay.
But somebody in the chat like confirm. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I mean, because that was something that, and they kind of allude to some of these things as well, right? Like you had, all right, we have to talk about this because it makes sense for the Wonder Woman conversation. We finally get her finding out about the mother boxes and the history versus her just knowing,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I knew this story. Like what?
Right.
So the exploration of the signal, right? Her not
was
returning
awesome.
to Themyscira
That was sick.
before then. So it's like she hasn't been home, so we know that. She was like, look, somebody's gonna know, like, oh, they won't know our ways. Like, no, she'll know, right? Finds out that she has to go down in this temple, learns all of this history, and we get this flashback where she
dude,
explains it to Ben Affleck.
we also see her how terrified she is. We've never
Bro.
seen her this scared and shook. Like she's always
Bro.
like, I want the smoke. She's like, I do not
Right.
want the smoke.
Right. She's like, yo, this is different. This man is different.
This hit different. Different.
So when we finally get the flashback sequence through the explanation, one, it's not
Right.
them fighting Steppenwolf, it's them fighting a young Darkseid, or maybe before he's Darkseid.
It's also dope to see him so barbaric because you always see him with the arms behind him.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
like, it was so cool to see him fighting, like scrapping.
That was interesting.
But-
Yeah, that was really
but
cool.
we're-
I will
we're
throw
si-
this out there that I think it was, I don't know if it was the best move to show him getting fucked up like that. Like it made me take Darkseid less seriously because I was like, you're telling me Zeus is on Superman level? Like Darkseid is like,
I think that was
not one
Ares,
of
I mean,
wasn't it?
but that was
it was Ares
that
who
was
hit
Ares
with
is-
the axe.
yeah.
But
Oh, okay.
but Ares and Zeus, so that was the thing though, right? Because that was the whole thing with what's his name with the new gods. Like he wanted to establish new gods. Like the old gods were still gods though. Like so,
Right.
It's not like he was fighting fucking Rudy Poo from down the street. So he was
Said Rudy Poo
Rudy
from
Poo.
down the street.
exactly right. So
Yeah,
so
you know what?
he's
I like that.
fighting a god. So it wasn't like he was so.
Three of them actually. It was
three of them.
Ares, Artemis, and Zeus.
And
Yeah.
Zeus. So we
And the
had that,
lantern.
and the lantern, even though he still gets maxed, but
Bro, the way
note-
you almost grabbed the ring though, I was,
Boy,
I
I was
like,
hype.
hey.
I was
Hey.
hype. I was like, what?
Just, hey, no, don't be.
So here's my question: Does that ring just travel through space, or does it go dormant on Earth?
No, it goes through space. I think it goes through space, dude.
No, yeah, it goes back to Oa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Until
Okay.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I can't-
he originally wanted to include a lantern, but that was one of the things actually, Jeremy, that the studio said no, you don't do this. But only because I think they were already planning their own Green Lantern, so they didn't want it to be like confusing continuity wise. But like,
As far as like in the actual as a Justice League member.
correct.
Got it.
But they were fine with Suicide Squad and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those
Hey,
characters
does-
mixed in.
Does anybody know what happened to Zeus and Ares like in the comics? Danny, do you know?
No. No, I do not.
Yeah, I'm gonna find that out like after we have this conversation because like I think that's
Somebody in the chat. What's the deal with Zeus and Ares? Well, Ares was chilling. Wonder Woman killed his ass.
Yeah.
In Wonder Woman.
Zeus just went back to Earth, had a little orgy.
I mean, so here's the thing though, right?
As he does, I guess.
But like back to that Steppenwolf in Wonder Woman connection, even when he finds her, he was like, "Oh, hold on, you Amazon? Hold on, time out.
Mm-hmm.
You different though.
Yeah,
like, you much
got,
strong. Like you got the blood of the old gods in you."
Yeah.
That was dope.
I just thought that was it was just tight to me. Like I like
and
the
it was dope
connected
that like
tissue.
it was dope that he like singled like I want to fight you like
Right.
like everybody back up. This one's mine. Yeah.
Right.
Well, you
You're
can
a
just
real
tell
one.
it's like it's kind of like to like I guess give an ode to Marvel. Like it's kind of the same way that you saw that his scouts would kind of act towards the Avengers, like when and I can't remember either of their names, but when they would see like Captain America's like, okay, let's go then, dude. Like you just caught my spear, bro. Like in midair, that's not normal. Like I thought you all were primitive. You're different. Let me fight you like hand to hand because
like a worthy opponent. Like
game recognized game. You're like,
like that's what I do.
Quick. I see people in the chat talking about the horse thing that I was talking about. Like, I'm saying that the if you're able to do that, because in the same scene you just showed these the Amazon guards at that tower break and smash those wooden pillars that were like I don't know a foot and a half.
They didn't just smash those. Those disintegrated.
Yeah,
and then
can you understand the amount of force it takes to smash that and hold up that giant boulder? If you can hold that up, you can lift a horse. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe she was just like one of like maybe that specific. Maybe those ones were like specifically stronger than the others. Like
that's fair. Whatever it is.
I mean,
she was also young too. So that one that got caught underneath the horse, she was like you could tell that she was younger than everybody else. So maybe she was just
take a pre-workout.
I think they were all like 1,000 years old.
She was
man.
the Patroclus. She was the Patroclus to Achilles.
Okay.
Man.
Just don't break your Achilles. That's an injury you don't want.
Facts.
Facts. I mean, real quick, I just want to jump to some of the super chats real quick.
Let's do it.
I know some of you guys are asking about some things with DC, Marvel TV shows and stuff. I don't want to discredit you guys, but thank you guys so much for the super chats. But I want to kind of keep it on focus right now. But Keith, I appreciate you.
We can swing back to those questions at the very end of the stream and do like a rapid fire if it's not if it's super off topic. So that way we can still hit them.
David Cunningham said, fun fact, there was a Green Lantern cameo film for Zack's cut, but WB had it cut, or they would can his cut of what?
So initially, apparently at the end, it wasn't supposed to be who we see at the end approach Bruce. It was supposed to be Green Lantern. And
got you.
And even earlier in the movie, I think it was Steppenwolf that said there are no protectors, no Kryptonians, no lanterns. And I'm just like, okay, so that's a constant thing. So it's so I imagine, and he said that in his dream world, it would have been Jon Stewart and Ryan Reynolds as Hal.
Right.
But,
really?
Yeah.
Idris Elba.
We got Cody Bond said, what happened? Joss Whedon brought in the traditional Marvel formula, some humor, good action, no character development, and a blind cookie cutter baddie. I mean, how y'all feel about
more
that?
than that, but
I think I think that's taking a lot of credit away from where it's due with Marvel. It's
agreed.
there is a lot of formula in what they do, but there is a lot of heart in there. And if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's fine. But like on a technical level, like it's definitely not trash. I think the problem with the Joss Whedon cut is that it's
the merit.
Right. Yeah. A lot of really talented artists work on those things. But with the Whedon cut, I think the difference is you're taking someone else's artistic vision and then slapping a coat of paint on it and saying that it's yours. The problem is that is truly a disingenuous experience because it's literally trying to put a round peg in a square hole. This was made as a square peg, and then you shaved off the corners and stick it in the you get what I'm saying. It's a completely different circumstance. I think there's no soul to the Whedon cut of and that's the thing that I would give this movie the most credit for, because it's not a masterpiece. In my opinion, it's great in so many different ways. There's so much to enjoy. At the same time, like, it has a soul, and that's what makes it so much fun to watch and so much fun to enjoy. And it makes me personally want to overlook the things that I don't particularly love about the movie. At least that's my experience with it. It made me happy as a DC fan.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. And that
justice was served.
That soul's name is Cyborg, but we'll get to that later.
Hell yeah.
Cyborg.
We got Ashley J said, "This is for me, getting all misty eyed with the old Hawk Talk intro, loving the vibes." Hey,
Thank you so much.
Love Ashley.
Hell yeah.
You're the best.
We got Jade on a good day. Says, "Hey pals, Jade here from Ismahawk, PA. I'm curious
Former
about the
Ismahawk,
filmmaker."
PA. Hold on. Former Ismahawk, PA. She's actually one of the most talented actresses we know. Actors, excuse me.
Oh yeah,
God,
dude. She
one of the
works.
most talented
Hey.
actors
She's
we
working,
know.
bro. Jade is working.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jade,
so
working. Let's go.
Much
She
love,
said-
Jade. Sorry,
said,
please continue.
She said, "I'm curious about what filmmakers you dream about being mentored or collaborating with, and why. Proud of you. Love where everyone has settled on their hair/beard journey."
That's hilarious.
Danny,
Oh,
I know
know.
you're a big fan of J.J. Abrams.
I already know who I want to work with.
Man, Taika Waititi, J.J. Abrams,
Taika. That would be fun.
Fudge. I mean, the list is
Martin McDonough.
Martin McDonough.
Dude, Martin McDonough,
Oh,
dude.
man.
If I shot a Martin McDonough movie,
Oh,
oh
man.
my god.
Oh, I don't even want to act in that. Just let me be on set. I'll get people's donuts. I'll get your coffee, dude. Whatever you need.
Edgar Wright, dude.
Edgar
I'd
Wright.
love to work with Edgar
Oh
Wright.
yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be super
Yeah.
fun.
I'd love to be in a Zack Snyder movie because he's gonna make me look good.
Oh, you're gonna have to work for it though, buddy.
Oh yeah.
True.
We're all looking.
Right.
Dude,
For
those
sure.
have you ever seen those workouts that he puts his
Yeah.
actors through?
Intense. Like camping.
I'm down.
But he's like, "Look, it's gonna pay off though. You're gonna look right."
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
buddy, you're gonna
Oh.
and you're also gonna starve.
Matt Reeves, dude. Matt Reeves is one of the dudes who's at the
Yo.
top of my list.
Okay, I'm just saying now, when that comes out, I might want to do another Hawk Talk.
I mean, speaking about that, Keith Hodge literally said, "Are you guys hyped for the next Batman?"
Yes.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Are
Yes.
you kidding me? Oh my god. Like how I said at the beginning of this stream that like I enjoyed, the Snyderverse, but it's not really my style that I would normally gravitate to. The Batman, that is 100% in line with my style, with my like sense of creative
Right.
direction. Like
You know what it
really
reminds
is.
me of? Like it reminds me, like Jeremy, that now that you're on that subject, when I watched that, it reminded me of like a mix between the Arkham games and like a girl with a dragon tattoo. Like the way that
Yes.
Fincher, like it looked. That's what it
Fincher,
reminded me of.
too.
I was like, it was
Yeah.
like a mashup of the two, and I was like, this look good. I was like, hey,
they look good.
they look good. I was
I-
like, they look real good.
The Batman might be my most anticipated movie of all time.
That trailer, by the way,
yeah.
Dude,
Oh,
with that
awesome, bro.
Nirvana song? Oh man.
All the sauce, bro. All the sauce.
bro.
Oh my god.
We got Cody Bond with the 5 says, "Let's address the elephant in the bank scene. Why on earth would you cut that little girl saying, 'Can I grow up to be like you?' out of the original?"
Yeah, that was weird. I don't understand either.
It feels like that even would have fit the vibe of the
100%.
Justice Cut. It was a very really tender moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. That was really strange. Really strange.
I might have
But back-
written it a little differently, but I mean, to me, the dialogue in this movie is a little exposition-y, but that's just my personal taste.
No, I
preference.
agree with that.
I can feel that.
I agree with that.
I actually like in terms of like continuity, it's a little funky because like the way Aquaman is in this movie is a little bit different than his movie. But like I actually
little
don't
bit.
mind the speak bubbles, because like one, they show that at least later in the movie that they speak like dolphins, like echolocation.
Right.
And like I I appreciate that because they're underwater,
Right.
man. Like that's how they're gonna
Right.
talk. And I like that they
That's how
open up the
sound
speak.
travels.
Right. And I open up, they specifically open up for Arthur because he's a hybrid. Like he probably doesn't understand that language yet. And I love the way that they used it in the, yeah, exactly. And I love the way that they used it in the fight with Steppenwolf, both as an attack and as a way to like stall. He's like, oh no, I'm not trying to like stop you. And her attack on him, like that looked like
that was
water
fire.
bending, dog. Like that was
was fire.
That was cool. That was, yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That like showcased her like their power a little bit. Like they could stand a chance if they were all like prepared. You know what I mean?
I was really not, I wouldn't say taken out of it, but I was definitely like, I got a little whiplash when Amber Heard started talking. I was like, oh, we're British now.
anytime she comes on screen,
I think that's the thing though, right? Where it comes into this idea of we have to then think about this was before we were supposed to see any of this stuff.
Right.
So this was before Aquaman was ever
Aquaman.
supposed to come out. So this was supposed to set the tone for what Aquaman was supposed to be anyways.
Exactly.
So in a certain way for me, I'm like, it's annoying because I'm like, damn, I kind of wanted some of these elements. Like I like the fact that we got Arthur in this where he has like this, like even Barry says it like, I thought you didn't care. He's like, I didn't say that. Like, I didn't say I didn't care. Like, so, but he has this persona of him not caring. Right. Like he has this persona of him just being like this, I don't belong anywhere vibes. And he's struggling with belonging somewhere.
And then he finally gets this like team, this people.
Right.
That, like,
and at the end, he's like, look, I need to go see my dad. Right. Because he hadn't been there. And so I feel like there's stuff where it led into what we get in the Aquaman movie. But to your point, like some of the stuff that artistically they took out because we didn't get to see that. I thought the bubble shit was fire. I was like, yo, that is dope.
Yeah, that was cool. I agree with that.
Cool.
I thought I mean, it's just another.
I get why they took it out though.
Yeah.
I think it's just another way that Zack understands because he's a comic fan. He understands that it's not just I need to tell you this. I need to show you this. I need to actually show you the way that the way that, because again, like I'm a huge The Watchmen, where it was like, I don't know if anybody in that time could have been able to do what he did with that. Like if you watch it, dude, that movie still is like,
that movie holds up.
You could release that today and it would do just as well, if not better. Like it's just fantastic. And he did the same thing there. And I don't know, man, there's just a lot of pieces of this that I really appreciate. And again, it kind of goes back to like what I said earlier. It's just like, damn, y'all, like, couldn't you just let the man do his job? Like, Jesus.
Right. Like
just let him do his job.
You hired him for a reason.
Or just stop it right there and just don't let him make the movie.
Yeah.
If you're not happy with the way the BVS performed, then just don't. Then just stop it there.
Yeah.
Don't unceremoniously rip it from his hands and then mold it into this thing that it's not. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road. I think
we're talking about
a win for artistic integrity.
Yeah.
So question, how are you guys feeling about how they introduced Barry Allen in this film?
I thought it was okay. So Danny and I have talked about this extensively. I don't care for Ezra Miller and I don't care for him as the Flash. Having said that, like he was very charming in this version of the movie. He wasn't as annoying as he was in the other one because like you immediately got to know like who the kind of person he is as he's explaining why he's late. Like, you know what I mean? Like you get to know him immediately, especially when he grabs the hot dog. Like a lot of people have that problem, but I'm like he's a goofy dude and like he's thinking ahead. Like he's like, no, you know what I mean? Like I thought it was charming.
He was so happy with
Barry
himself when
Allen
he
is
did that
goofy,
too.
but not goofy like that. That's
I agree.
That's
I
a little
agree.
Different kind of goofy.
It's a different take.
Flavor.
I completely agree. It's a different take on the character, but I think the reason why he did that, or maybe I'm just reading into it a little bit too much, but I think the reason why he wanted him to be the silly one is because one, he's fast, so he's already going to be ahead of everyone. So like that to me is already like a perfect candidate for comedic relief because you give that to Quicksilver, you give that to like, you know what I mean? Like that's just perfect to me.
Right. I think I said this after we finished the movie premiere night, and if I wasn't already familiar with all of these characters and I wasn't already a fan, this is a perfectly fine movie to watch. in that regard. Like, but knowing these characters and being fans of them already, like you have a preconceived notion of who they are, like everyone else who are fans. And to me, that's why after watching the Snyder Cut, I have to be honest, I felt a little torn. Like, did I like it or did I not like it? Because I enjoyed the movie, but then these aren't really the characters that I know.
No, I totally.
And
totally
you know, you could say the
understand.
same about the MCU and stuff like that, but
like one could
We're
argue
closer to DC.
one
though.
could argue like that's like the purpose of Zack Snyder's universe. Is he like he's take like because kind of like that really is what Watchmen is. Watchmen is like a deconstruct like a essay on superheroes and like how things can be problematic if like things go awry. And like he with this one, he was like, let me take the icons that every human being that at least is watching a movie knows who Batman and Superman are. You know what I mean? So like, let me take the icons that you know and like challenge how you feel about them if they came in like, and that's not everyone's
I don't know if I would have done that, but
like that's the thing. His movies aren't like the movies that are gonna appeal to the general audience, and maybe that's why a lot of people were like, well, then why'd you give them the DC movies? And like, and totally understand that, but like I appreciate it. Like while I am the same like sentiment as you, as I would do things completely differently as well. But I appreciate like that he was like, you know what, I'm gonna do my thing. He's also a nerd. Like I know he's a nerd because, and like Jade and I were actually talking about this the other day. We know he's a nerd because he did deep cuts like 300 and Watchmen. I don't really care for 300, but like he did deep cuts that people didn't even know that was a graphic novel until the movie was coming out. So like my guy's a nerd before being a nerd was cool. Like we like us, honestly.
Right.
So like I thought it was kind of cool that he was like, let me poke holes in these characters that you all know and love, and like let me see like if I can make you feel like that's no excuse for the way they made Barry Allen. I'm not saying that, but like that's how I feel like what his approach was. The Barry Allen scene lasted a very long time though. I will say that the slow motion could have been trimmed.
Oh, I loved that.
thing with
I
Iris
actually
felt weird
I
to
did
me.
not mind it at all. I loved that scene so much. I loved the music. I loved what he did, the way that Zack,
just popping that glizzy in his pocket.
Yeah.
Dude,
Hey,
I
Danny,
could
yeah.
the way that he like pressed on like
Yeah, that
pointed
shit was dope.
through.
That
I
was
was like,
cold.
dude,
Oh my god. He's
watching
going
the glasses
so fast,
bend and
that
it just
glass bends. That's crazy.
So like, all right, I know that like performance wise there is a little bit of apprehension about Ezra Miller. I definitely have felt that, but I was surprised with how much I enjoyed him and his scenes.
Me too.
And I'm like, there were like the visual interpretation of Flash and the way, like, okay, the purist in me is like, well, the lightning should have been yellow.
Oh
but,
my God.
but
Right.
leaving that aside, checking my fanboyism at the door, at least attempting, the way that they interpreted the visuals of the Flash, the way that like,
God.
oh yeah, scientifically, if you're moving this fast, yeah, you're gonna bend everything, and Jeremy and I famously would have the conversation of if Superman took off right next to you at the speed that he takes off, it would create so much force that you would melt.
You would evaporate.
Dude, the fact that Flash just ran up to the car at that accident, and when he's stopping, the way the road just crumbles
So
Yeah.
dope.
as
Bro,
he goes
I
down,
mean,
but it doesn't
detail.
keep flying because he's going
Bro,
so fast.
But
Oh
the
my
detail
God.
of the detail of him turning and his shoes just
when they bust,
just
I was like,
snapping.
Yep.
I was
why
like,
has nobody
oh
done
my
that?
god!
Why would his clothes
Like,
exactly like why would his clothes stay the same? He's going so fast.
Yeah,
He
which is why
ripped
he needs
out
to
of
wear
shoes.
his suit.
Yeah.
right. I just thought that was awesome, and because I've heard people complain about the Iris sequence, but for me, it was a love at first sight thing to me. Where he sees her and he's like, "Oh my god, like she is beautiful." Like that's just all that I thought of was like, "Wow," because I thought the same thing as soon as she popped.
she
I was
clearly
like,
felt the
"Geez,
same way
she is
because she was
right." She looked back at the car. She was standing there for a second. So
I
they
agree.
had an intimate moment there. So I was like, okay. And then I think when he ran out, he got caught in the same days to me. Right. So, and I know people have their own, feelings about that or whatever, but I just thought like the whole, like him moving his hair to see her face. Like I just thought it was cute. I was like, that's actually cute. Like, I just thought it was interesting.
That's
It's very Barry.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, yo, like that's a cute way of doing that.
And that's why I have a hard time when people are like, oh yeah, I didn't think that he like captured the Flash. And I was like, maybe there was a moment that he wasn't exactly like the comics, but I don't know. Like his interpretation, I think is
many moments, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think too, though. Go ahead.
I think, and I agree with you, it is cute, but I think the exception there for me personally, the way it felt weird for me is because she's not aware of what's going on. Like it would be cute if they were actually in front of each other and he's doing the thing, but like she is in like literally almost still and he's going, slipped into the Speed Force. And that to me is a little voyeuristic, a little non-consensual,
sneaky
almost.
Dickens.
I can feel that for sure.
I can see that. I don't know if that was the intent though.
No,
so
of course
I
that's not
don't
the
know.
intent, but that's how I felt watching it,
For sure. I mean, and that's fine. I think though, like for me, some of the people that had, because I did see some concerns around the Flash as far as like, because I know V had brought it up on stream of like, it seemed like his power, like if he's as fast as he is and blah, blah, why is he like, seem like foddery at times in battle. And I'm like, look, I think some of us are looking at it from a perspective of we've seen the Flash TV shows, we've seen him in animated movies. We know him as the Flash, as the seasoned Flash.
Yeah.
He is not the seasoned Flash. And we've seen in this iteration of him having this challenge of even wanting to be living properly because he's so concerned about his dad. So, and they make that apparent in this version of the movie of him struggling with moving forward through life as opposed to so focused on the events of the past. And he's like, and so I think with that, it's like, he's not a fighter. He's not really a superhero yet. He has a suit, but it's more so of him being able to utilize his speed, it seems. So I think there's this growth arc of him in this movie as far as him utilizing his powers, even though it seems as if he knows something about his powers. Because he was like, look, I have a rule that like once I approach the speed of light, time gets a little strange. Like, so he's aware that stuff happens around that.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know. So he's like, look, I'm only going to go so fast because I know some weird shit can happen.
Yeah. That, by the way. Man, I knew
God.
it. When I was watching this, I was like, dude, I wish I was with the boys right now because I was tripping.
Bro.
I was like, what the flick?
That was the part that I started getting choked up on because it was like,
oh man.
Well, it wasn't just because he was doing it. It was like it was the tie up to stuff. Like you see him earlier reverse time a little bit during the mother box drop. So that was interesting. And we'll talk about the sequence in a second because that's crazy. But then like the tie into that, his discussion with his dad, this whole process of him being in his head and not, allowing to move forward. And he's, his dad's like, look, like, dude, like you're elite, bro. Like, why are you acting like you can't do anything that you want to do? And that moment of him phasing through everything and then
narrating to himself.
And then, bro, I just thought it was so powerful to me.
It was very comic book for me. I was like, I feel like I'm watching a comic book in front of me. Like if you ever read anything in regards to like a Flash comic and he's going through something emotional while using his powers, that's exactly how it feels while you're reading it. It's him talking to himself. Like he's talking in his head. And I was like, dude, I don't think I've ever seen a better description of the way that Flash would go back in time. Like it was so fantastic. I was like, this is amazing.
Dude, he's struggling. He was pushing.
We're on it. That last like 30 minutes of that final battle, like the tension was crafted beautifully, in my opinion. Like literally every aspect of it. It's just
like panel for panel, it looked like it was taken from comic books. Like I feel like I've seen that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And on that note, I would say my overall opinion of the movie is it gets better as it goes on.
Yeah,
agreed.
Part 1 was cool, part 2 was better, and then it just kept getting better. And then by the time part 6 rolls around, I'm like, wow,
dude,
let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I'm in.
That
Hell yeah.
final act, dude, when he was running, he was like, Vic, I can't hold it, I can't maintain this, and he's literally struggling. He gets blasted. And he's whimpering as he's holding his side, and he's like trying. And I was like, oh my god! I was like, so this is the cliffhanger. They're gonna lose right now.
Right.
That's the cliffhanger.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna Thanos it.
I thought they were gonna Thanos it. I was ready for it too. And then all of a sudden he gets going, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm so freaking hyped about this right now. I was like, go, run, Barry, run, go! And he starts running,
Right,
and
dude.
the ground starts materializing under his feet. I was losing it.
Bro.
Oh,
I just
That
thought it
moment
was
great.
I just thought it was dope. Like when the explosion happened and you see him phase and everything's just kind of going through him.
my
yeah.
God.
Right.
I was like, oh my God. I like lost
I was
it.
like, how is
bro.
dude
Build-
standing
every
right now?
level is building on
I
itself.
was like, how are you standing? What are you standing on, dude? Like, are you so fast you can just float? Like,
fabric of
that's ridiculous.
space-time.
That's ridiculous. I was like, this is
It-
ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
But it's one of those things of him because like that was like the fastest he's ran.
yeah.
So it's like him showing and believing like I'm better than where I am right now. And like
That's like
I did,
for me, like it's kind of like when Superman dies at the beginning and you hear him scream. Like
right.
the entire time of his existence, he's holding back. So that one moment when he's dying, he's screaming his loudest he possibly fucking can. So like when this shit happens to Flash, he's like, oh, I gotta run as fast as I can, or I'm literally gonna melt. I'm gonna become atoms. No more, actually. My atoms are gonna be gone.
And he
I just thought it was
runs
fire.
So
toward that. The visualization of the Speed Force in this was so cool, so good, because it feels like speed. Like you see you see like this almost like action lines from a comic or something.
Yeah.
You see these like lines going that just like embodies speed. He starts going, and that was like visually the visual interpretation of the Speed Force. I think that's my favorite that I've ever seen in any medium right now. I thought it was more than just a wormhole. It was almost like transitioning into another dimension, like almost like the Upside Down from Stranger Things.
Yeah, that was cool.
Really
I agree
rad.
with that. Yeah, there was a lot of things about the entire interpretation. I think of Flash was like really what that was probably something I felt like I was looking forward to it more and more as the film went on. Like I cannot wait to see like what he does next. Like I just can't wait. Like it's just so they did it so. And like, do you remember that shot when he touches the mother box and the lightning is like twirling around his finger? I was like,
and then
dude.
it starts going backwards. Time
was like,
moves backward.
dude.
Dude.
I was like, what the flick, dude? I was like, that's sick.
Oh my god.
Dude,
He's so OP.
So
OP, bro.
I love that the ship constantly was like, this is irreversible. Like,
Yo.
you sure you want to do this? When
Yo,
even after it counted down to 1, it was like, this
No.
action is
Go.
irreversible.
Bro, can we talk about that really quick? Because
Yes.
these are
Absolutely.
things that I feel they intentionally removed from the theatrical cut because they did not want this to continue. I
Yes.
feel like because like in this situation, the original version, Batman was the only one saying, yo, we can use this to bring him back. And Wonder Woman was like, no. And he was like, no, we got to do it. She was like, okay. It was a team effort, first and foremost, right? And we got information about the mother boxes from Diana, from her research, right? So we're like, oh, this is dope. Found out from Victor what was actually how he got involved in it, like why happened to him, how his dad got it.
Exactly.
So I thought that was dope.
So dope.
They all came into agreement that we can do this.
That's the thing. Like, all of these characters were so smart. Like in the first Avengers, you had them beef a little bit, and I understand like it works for that world, but like I love that these characters like we need to get our shit together, like because a threat is coming, and like it's also established like thousands of years ago people were around anyway, so it's like they know the history, you know.
Right. So you had that. While they're prepping for that, Bruce is sitting down. Diana's like, yo, what's going on? And he was like, Barry came to me right here. He didn't know who Barry was in BVS.
Right.
But he's like, now he's like, hold on, that was fucking Barry. How the fuck? Like, so he's like, no, Barry came to me and told me that she,
tight.
that
Lois is the key.
So Lois is the key. And he's like, yeah, key to Superman. And he's like, nah, like
something different,
there's
something darker.
Something darker, like this is not it. Like something's off. So then when you get into the ship, And the ship is basically saying, look, the AI is like, look,
This is a bad idea.
Look,
My
dog.
guy.
my guy, and shows Cyborg what the future is if this happens. And then he snaps out of it and is like, no. And he's
Did you
like,
say
go?
Did you say
Bro,
go?
I was like, oh my God, this is the dopest shit. Like,
The
this is,
Dude.
this is the dopest.
That's how you
The
build suspense.
stakes-
That's how you build tension.
Oh yeah.
The
So good,
stakes
so
and the
good.
suspense in this were so well earned, man. It was so well earned in
Primo.
that moment, because like in that moment he was like no, and he's like go, and I was like uh-oh.
Yep. Yep.
Like you literally feel it in your stomach. You're like, oh no, like, oh my gosh, excellent the
Yeah.
way that the way that all that entire scene was crafted.
There's a lot.
God, good stuff, man. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
That was beautiful. I liked that we're getting payoffs from
Yeah.
previous stuff, making things make sense that we didn't know because he's not telling things linearly. So it's like, all right, cool. So now explains this whole situation from BVS that he is now aware of, but he still doesn't understand what it's like answering a question and asking a question at the same time. You know, and then obviously for the viewer, we're like, okay, there's this crazy future that Ben Affleck had a dream of. Cyborg just got a vision from the computer. Like West, like, you know what I'm saying? It's adding stuff and answering questions at the same time.
Ooh. While we're on that subject, the way that Snyder positioned Cyborg going into his own AI, like his own, like I was like, whoa. I was like,
So
dude, this
dope.
is dope.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. And like for me, that was one of the biggest pieces that I feel like everybody, including myself, we didn't get anything from Cyborg by any means in Justice
Zero.
League. Like how am I supposed to have like any relation to this character that I don't know anything about? Like I don't know anything about him. And like, oh, by the way, that football scene.
Bruh. I
Bro.
knew you would love that scene.
Yeah.
That was a dope ass scene, dude.
Bro, I mean, can we just discuss
Bro.
Cyborg?
Cyborg is like, oh man.
I feel like
For me,
we've been
he
waiting
was like
to
one of my
discuss
favorite
Cyborg.
characters of the whole movie, dude. He was so sick.
Dude, like, can we just have Zack Snyder please make a show about football? Please make a show about football. Do that
Saturday
every
Night
week.
Lights.
Oh my God, please. That'd be amazing. But anyways, I loved what they did with Cyborg in this. I feel like Cyborg, I think probably more than anybody got the biggest growth here. And I think it was
Yeah.
almost like Zack was like, I need to give this character the actual shit I wanted to give him to begin with.
Mhm.
And I'm going to give an ode to this character that I helped create with this actor.
Well, I mean, let's be fair though. Like this was already like these things were already shot. So
Yeah,
it's not
but-
like he reshot them. They
Yeah.
were there. They just omitted them.
Yeah.
Exactly. There were only 2 things that were shot additionally.
They
Right.
cut out homie's entire arc,
Yeah,
dude.
dude. And it was
Bro.
fantastic.
What was that?
But it was
fantastic.
necessary for the story at
And
the
it was
same
so,
time.
yeah, that was so good, dude. Like, and for me, like, everybody here knows, right? Like, I have like I don't have a very good relationship with my father, right? So like that specific part of that story like meant so much to me. I was like, dude, like, are you kidding me? This
It
is
was so good,
important.
so
Like,
believable.
this
It's so real. Like the fact, like when he said, like, I didn't think you'd come back. He's like, you're my father. Like,
yeah,
like
so good,
so
man.
good.
Like
That's it.
that dude, that moment right there was like a Game of Thrones scene. Like,
agreed.
like, how much shit that families go through, and you stick by them because that's your family, dude. Like,
Right.
whether you pick them or they're yours, you have to stand by them. I was like, dude, this is like really important information, dude. Like,
Right.
I don't understand like why you would get rid of that. Like, it's very interesting, and I'm really glad that we got to have this. Like, really, really glad.
Me too. It was also cool seeing him in like the Nightmare world because I didn't think that we would see him in like that was just like a nice little Easter egg. too.
Yeah,
Right.
that was cool too.
Well, I mean, showing how powerful he is in regards to technology in the world.
Right. It
Yeah.
would make sense
Was-
that he could survive that.
Well, I mean, but even still, like when his dad was explaining to him, like when you got
Dope.
the
Oh.
tape of like, dude, like, let me just let you know, like, what you actually can do.
In a
'cause I
world
don't
of
think
ones
you-
and zeros.
bro,
We
like
are,
I just
Vic,
thought that
we are at your disposal. I was like,
Bro,
So dope.
it was so dope. I was like,
damn, dude.
I was like, dope. Like, but then it showed his actual character.
Yeah.
When he sees the woman struggling and
The
seeing
single
her,
mom, yeah.
and you see he's walking through and it's showing the banks and everybody's accounts and how much money they got, and he's like, you know what,
He
man,
just comes
like
up.
let me just help you out right now. Like you just need to be able to breathe a little bit. Like that moment showed the character he had, because
Yes.
right when he walked into the bank, his dad was like, it's not the fact that what can't you do, it's what will you do at the same time. It's like you could
Yeah.
literally go crazy.
The point is not, if you can do it, the point is like,
Right. Should you,
what
will
choices are you going to make
Right.
moving forward? And that's
Right.
really going to be your entire situation. I thought that
I
was
just thought
really
that was fire.
cool.
It was
Yeah.
so good. Like I was like, man, like it just showed his heart as a character. Like, man, like this dude is really a genuinely nice and caring person that just wanted to have his dad.
Right.
Among, many other things.
Many
probably
other
just a
things, but he
normal
was like, but I mean, the beginning was like him getting the touchdowns, like, yeah, I got it. And his dad's not there. His dad's
Yeah.
working.
Mhm.
His dad's at work trying to solve things. And then you get the accident. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, I choked up at that sequence as well. Like
Yep.
of him
Same.
just he's like your wife's not gonna make it. He's like, and neither is your son. And I was just like
His
I don't know what it
performance,
was. It was his response.
Yeah. It's very
Like his
reactionary.
response to that was
Yeah.
like, and I
That's
just
good
like, I was like,
acting.
I was like, damn, like I don't even know you yet.
Good acting.
I
That
don't
was
know
very-
you yet as a character, and I'm already with you on this right now. Like
Right.
that was, I don't know why it hit me different, but I was like, oh shit, like why am I getting choked up? I don't know you, my guy.
It's also
Yeah,
dope
that-
that he's the dude from Terminator 2 who
He
created
is.
Skynet.
Yeah, he's the guy who created
That's
Skynet.
a fun Easter egg.
I
there.
did it. I completely forgot.
That's why he's a hell of an actor too. Any time that he had any kind of dialogue, it was very believable. And for very little screen time, like he was a very good addition to this film, and I really appreciated his character. And I'm really happy for the people that are going to watch this, because us DC fans know Cyborg. We know that with Teen Titans, like we had so much time with that character, and
Right.
it was so fun to watch. And Young Justice, right? But for people that watch Justice League, they were like, who cares? Like, who is that? Like, nobody gives a why is he even here? And I'm really happy that we got to have it. It was almost like the way that we got to have in, Infinity War, we got to have, what's his face? Damn it. Jeremy
Renner,
yeah, Jeremy Renner's character.
Hawkeye.
Thank you. I was going to say Green Arrow, but that wasn't it. Sorry.
Right.
Been off of it for a little while, guys. Give me a break. But yeah, it's the same thing with his character in Hawkeye. We didn't get a lot until part 2, right? Endgame. And you're just like, okay. And you got to see this huge growing period for that character. And it's the same.
I fell in love with that character. In that movie.
Yeah. Same.
Like, and I think in this, it was like that same vibe of like, to your point, like, you're just like, damn, like I really like Cyborg a lot.
Right.
I want to see more of this
rooting for
guy. And he's a good actor. Like he knows his shit. Like he
Yeah.
knows his cues. He knows how to deliver specific lines a very specific way for a very specific reason. That's an actor's job, man. And he's got the chops, dude. Give the man another job. Let's see him some more. I want to see what happens.
Yeah, he was doing damage.
Hell yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I was a big fan. Big fan of Cyborg in this.
We got a couple more super chats real quick.
Let's
Keith Moody says, regarding Flash,
What up, Keith?
while I found him less annoying in this movie, if you're gonna make him this comedic, you might as well have just made him Wally.
Agreed.
Yep,
Yeah.
100%.
No,
Agreed.
I okay. Yeah, no, I see that.
100%.
That makes sense. Crash the
Wally
mode.
is personally my favorite Flash. So I think if they just said this character was Wally and not Barry, like I think it would have been more consumable from the beginning. But I think they just wanted to do the dad thing, which I really like. I think they should have just gone with Wally myself, because like they've done Barry so well in the show that you're just going to do Barry again. Like you don't have to do Barry again. There's how many other people who've taken up the mantle of Flash at this point. Like, and Wally is like, I assume it's because they wanted to add Wally in later, you know, but like it should have been Wally. But
we got Scott Stidd said, how do you like the look of Darkseid? I thought he was dope. That was from Scott Stidd. What up, Scott?
So damn good.
Yeah, the way
His
Darkseid
voice. I was like, dude, when he first speaks, I was like, dude, that's so sick. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, I flexed everything.
Yeah, one of my favorite, like, to adapt that to live action. My God,
Fantastic.
Where do you
Fantastic.
begin?
And
I
that
wish
part,
we got more of the Omega beams. I think we only saw it once.
Oh,
that
yeah,
I can
one
think
time,
of.
yeah.
And I
You see
wish
the
we
one
saw
time,
it
you're
again.
like, ooh.
I was like, and it's underwater too.
Yeah.
Like, and you see the bubbles come from like where he shot. Like, that was rad, dude.
That was dope.
So
There was a
dope.
lot. That whole dude, his whole dialogue, the first time you see him, like the buildup of that situation,
Oh yeah.
and then you see him talk, and the end, dude, the stamp that he says at the end of it is like so effing epic. And he's just like, what does he say? I will trample on the dust of their bones. I was like, oh,
One thing
God.
I wished I would have seen, maybe I missed it, I don't know, but when you see Darkseid later in the movie, it would have been cool to see a huge scar or something on his shoulder or wherever
Yeah.
he got hit with that giant axe, almost got cut in half.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
You're not wrong.
Maybe,
Went
or maybe I
ahead.
missed it. I don't know.
Sorry. I mean, I think for me, he's what made Steppenwolf sing for me.
Yes.
Because we saw him wanting to get back home, right? He was trying to right a wrong. He was like, you know, my man's like, look, you betrayed him. He's like, you basically took out people of his family. He was like, but they were trying to take his throne. Like
Yeah. That's probably
I
my
was trying to-
favorite part, like, of
So-
Steppenwolf's story, because you feel like, oh, there's more to this. I want to know more,
Right.
but you're not going to tell me right now.
Right.
You're only giving
And-
me little pieces.
Facts. And he's like, and Darkseid feels some kind of way. Obviously, him going, he's
Clearly.
like, look, he was like, first of all, you on this planet, I'm not trying to go back there yet because I don't know if it's safe for me to go back there yet. So we're gonna send your
Talk
little
about
ass over there
family
and see.
issues.
We're gonna send you over there and see if you can get it done. And I thought that was dope at the end when he was like, my man's like, I told you he wasn't gonna be able to do it. I told you he was gonna fail.
Mhm.
And he was like, all right, well, I guess I gotta do
Yeah,
the
So
old
who
gotta
was the-
do it the
I always
old ways.
forget his name. What? Oh man, what's his?
Desaad?
Yeah,
Kassad.
bro.
Hell yeah.
His voice, the
Dude.
voice actor for that, I can't remember his name, but he's in Troy. I think he's in Rome, the miniseries
Mm.
on HBO. I always forget
Mm.
that actor's name, but I love his effing voice, dude. He's got such a dope voice, and I'm so glad that they got him.
Dude, Darkseid was terrifying, man. Like,
Yeah, he was.
his voice was terrifying. The fact that when Steppenwolf's head came to his foot, all he did was
Stomp on it?
He
I
was
was
just like,
Damn,
I was like,
bro.
holy shit. Like,
Dude,
that was the equivalent of how Steppenwolf grabbed one of the parademons and just threw him by the neck. Like, that's
Right.
what Darkseid, like, that's how badass Darkseid is and what he thinks of Steppenwolf. Like, you're just a fucking ant that couldn't do the job. Let me do the job then. I
Right.
was like, holy shit.
excellent. Okay, so we've hit pretty much every member of the league right now. Well, no, we still have 3 more to go. So let's jump over to Superman.
Hell yeah.
Real
Okay,
quick.
bro. First of all, I just want to talk about the resurrection scene one more time. Like, I specifically like that it highlighted that this is not a good idea. I really do feel like if they put him in the sun, he would have healed back to life and he would have been fine because the motherfucker took a nuke and he was dead. You know what I mean? And like, I just feel like if he was in the sun long enough, he would have been good. But like, I just love that it showed that this was a bad idea. But anyway, he comes back. He doesn't know who he is for a second. His brain's rock. So he's like, especially with all these new people, he's like, I certainly don't know you fucking people. I vaguely know Batman, but I'm pretty sure I was fighting you last time I saw you.
Right.
And like, I also love that his thing took the beam. That was cool.
Yeah,
That
but
they
not
set
very
up
well.
earlier.
Right. Exactly. But like Superman finally
and like
I also took the beam. That was cool.
Like you said,
Yeah.
said
They said it earlier.
Like he was righting a wrong.
Right,
Like, all
right.
this whole movie was about
Exactly.
people righting the wrongs that they feel like they did or
Exactly.
or, you know what I mean? Like I appreciate that. Like Batman was
but
trying
like
to right his wrongs.
Superman
Superman
and like
I like listen. My
I
dad
got a
like
second chance.
I got a second chance, and I'm like, I'm gonna be careful. I'm gonna because like he was a little reckless.
It was definitely an overarching theme that like right your wrongs when you no crumbs.
I do
so to
wish that
speak.
like Henry was given like a bit more lines because like I like him and I like to see him act, but like I do think that like having said that, like the quiet sequences were beautiful and you know exactly what they're feeling, you know exactly what they're thinking. Like
They're my
also,
favorite.
yeah, same here. And like even the part with Lois approaching the memorial at the beginning of the movie, the song that's playing, like I typically and Danny and I have had discussions about this. Like I typically don't like if a song has lyrics if it's in the movie unless it serves a purpose. And like all of the songs that he chose served a purpose. Like the lyrics were for that moment were we were told that our gods would outlive us. We were told that our dreams would outlive us, but they lied. And like she's looking at the Superman statue when Aquaman's like pensive and he's like thinking about what he should do. He's like, there's a king and a kingdom. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was very purposeful with the music that he chose, and I really appreciated that.
Dude,
but yeah,
all the Superman stuff. All of the Lois and Martha and Superman stuff is my absolute favorite.
Yeah,
it's so heartfelt, dude.
Yeah, and that's like, dude, that's the Superman movie I want to see. That I'm waiting for. Like the moment where Clark was in the process of remembering he's back on the farm and he's standing under the tree, dapple of sunlight on his face in the tall grass, and he's just smiling. That's
so good.
That's Superman right there. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Yo, how about that VO of all of his two fathers? Bro, I was, oh my god! You guys know how much I love Man of Steel.
Man of Steel is my favorite DC
and
movie,
Russell
so.
Crowe's Jor-El. I was like, I hopped up out of my chair when you got to see the swirling debris across his fist. I was like, oh god! And it's just like you hear, oh god, Kevin Costner, freaking fly, son, fly now.
Yeah,
and I was just like.
Yo, when he buzzed half of Steppenwolf's face off,
dude.
he just shot. He was like, ba ba ba, ba.
Dude, that wasn't a fight. He was.
I know
it's not a fight
playing
when
with
he's
dude.
standing over Steppenwolf.
No.
Like,
Bro.
that's a bitch move, man.
Dude,
when he shows up and he stops the axe with himself.
Yeah, he was
Bro.
just like,
Yeah.
He
I'm not
didn't. He
impressed.
didn't. My man's did not try to block it.
Oh
yeah,
He just stood there and was like, not impressed. I was
Not
like,
impressed.
bro, I said this on the stream earlier. I was sitting on my couch and I shit you not, I was like, oh my god, I like fell down my couch. I was like, he's so anime, bro. Like, this dude he's an anime character. Like, I'm just like, bro, what? Like, I'm not impressed, bro. I was like, what?
That's
That's
really
that
what he
move
would
where
have.
you just dust off his shoulder.
You freeze
Insane
somebody's axe and then just smack it. I was like, oh no. I was like,
Oh no.
I felt so bad for Steppenwolf at that time, bro. All I thought I just thought he was gonna be like Bakuna. I don't know why I thought he was gonna start speaking Japanese out of nowhere or some shit. I was like, bro, what is going on?
Just start screaming like with the freaking camera this close to his face.
Bro, so here's my thing. One of the things back to like the resurrection part when Lois shows up, this is the reason why I enjoyed the original variation, now I'm gonna call it, versus the Whedon cut. In the Whedon cut, Batman utilized Lois as a weapon, as a tool. Like, okay, he's like, Alfred, call in the big guns. And then she comes out of the car. So she was already aware that they were going to resurrect him. Right. In this, she had decided that morning that, you know what? It's time. It's time to get back out in the world. Right. I'm going to grab my pass. Oh, there's pregnancy strips in here, but we're going to talk about that later. And then leaves. Right. Leaves the house. She's out in the world ready to go and then sees him.
Yeah, that was
like, to me,
that whole sequence was sick.
It was so much better because it was her own decision to start to live again.
It gave her story. She had her own path that she was doing her own thing.
Yeah.
And then she was like, hold on, that's my man's. Like, what's going? Like, I thought
And
that was dope.
The way that they framed that,
Yeah.
it was a frame of like what it would look like if you were her from a different angle looking up.
Right.
And I was like, dude,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
they didn't give him like a medium shot.
Right.
They showed you what she's seeing.
Right.
So
In the air, like.
what it like the feeling I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Dude, the
I was like,
cinematography in this movie
It's stupid.
incredible.
It's stupid.
Beautiful.
It's stupid, bro. Stupid. See, I loved how they utilized like how her story was. She had her own arc of like, you know, dealing with her grief and starting to try to live.
Yes.
Like, so I was like, okay, she finally got to that point, and then next thing you know, she's living, and my man's is living at the same time. Like,
also,
Yeah.
wild that my man's Martian Manhunter is the one that
Bro.
told her to live. Are we
Yo.
gonna talk about that for a second?
Well, yeah, we'll get to Martian Manhunter. in a
Okay.
sec.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, Superman.
oh man, I talked.
I loved it.
So I mean, you guys already know. I mean, anybody here that's watching and the people that are, my pals that are all here know how
What
much
up,
I
pals?
love Superman. He's my favorite. He's consistently my favorite. I mean, that obviously being close to, Green Arrow and Batman and kind of close seconds for me. So I wasn't expecting anything less. Like like we were talking about like the opening sequence, I knew right then and there. I was like, oh, we're about to get like the best Superman footage we've ever seen from Zack Snyder. Like I knew it right there. I was like, if we don't get anything out of this entire film, we're gonna get some bomb ass Henry Cavill Superman, dude. Like we're gonna get some dope shit.
You know what's crazy? Like, even with what you just said, like, I had never liked Superman until Zack Snyder's verse of him.
I kind of
To me,
agree.
he was such an uninteresting character.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. Like, I'm not really interested in Superman. Like,
Yeah.
you're Superman. Cool. But for whatever reason, he makes me, I don't know. I really enjoy. He's very human in the sense of like him struggling with certain things. And I'm like, okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that about him.
I want Henry Cavill to get another chance.
I don't think
More
that
material.
I can't imagine that anybody, Jeremy, to what you're saying, I can't imagine, and I know a couple people have said it in the chat. I can't imagine they're going to find anybody more perfect for that role. I really do. Like
I hear good things from Tyler Hoechlin on the show.
I have. For me, Henry Cavill to Superman is like what I think of like Hugh Jackman is to Wolverine. Like I think that like there are just or like Ryan Reynolds to Deadpool. There are just roles that people are. It's almost like they were born. Like you are born to depict this character.
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. It's just like you are perfect for this role. Like even your personality, the way
Ben Affleck as Geely.
Yes.
Yep, Ben Affleck as Geely.
Yep.
I'm gonna fight
And
you, Noel.
Daredevil.
We're fighting. We're gonna
Ben
fight.
Affleck as Elektra.
If they like, are we talking about like the potential of Henry Cavill's tenure as Superman being over?
Yeah.
I don't know if it is.
I don't know what to expect
because
from the future of
contractually he
DC.
still has movies that he can do with them. But look, all I'm gonna say is we didn't know that this was actually really going to be a thing until it was announced that it was a thing.
Right.
And
This
to be
was
honest,
the furthest from a possibility.
bro, there has been some form of Justice League trending on Twitter for the past 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There has been no DC movie in history doing that.
Yeah.
On Twitter for 3 days, some form of release, revive the verse or whatever, or Justice League, or one of the characters, or one of the actors, somebody from this movie or the movie itself has been trending on Twitter for 3 days.
Well, that's what I was referring to earlier. That hey, can like Warner Bros. Do you see what happens when you guys hired the right guy? You hired the right people. And his people came in and he hired people that hired people that did a very good job. Now you see, and it's the same thing. Like I was talking to Noel about this leading up to this. We were, because every once in a while me and Noel will meet. And I was talking about how is it so successful for Warner Brothers to depict a series a book series that had no visual representation, and I'm referring to Harry Potter. What does a Patronus charm look like? Well, you guys had no visual representation of this, and you made it out of thin air and did it so well because you hired the right people. How is it that we have so much visual representation of Batman and Superman and all of these characters? I don't understand how, excuse my language, how you fucked that up. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, do you think it's, I mean, maybe Danny and Jeremy can jump in on this as well. Do you think it's because there's so many references that there is that, like, which variation of this do we go down? And then you have the competition of Marvel and how it's been successful, that they're trying. So they're like, okay, we have all these visual representations. We have another universe that is wildly successful over 10 years of content. Do you think that may have guided them in saying, okay, well, how do we, the previous movies didn't perform as well as we could. You arguably have the top 3 most noticeable superheroes of all time in BVS, and it didn't perform as well as we thought it should.
I think it's because it's purely a business decision for them. It's an industry and they have to run a company. And at that point, the numbers aren't making sense to them. So they had to look outside and be like, okay, why is Marvel working? Or why is that working? Or, what are we doing wrong? So they try to copy it and it ends up not working. Okay. And because of that, plenty of people were fired at Warner Brothers.
So you think it's like a too many cooks situation?
Less that and more that, like, the Snyder movies are and very enjoyable, but not to everybody. And that therein sort of in lies the problem when you have Warner Brothers
you're talking
trying
about
to compete
artistry
with
versus industry. This is a perfect example of it.
This is a perfect example. And I know, I think I saw some super chats come up that asked this question. Adonis, if you could just scan through it to see who it was, so I can kind of give him the shout out here. But like, my personal opinion is, like, based off of what I've seen from Zack and like what he's been posting, he's kind of like low key throwing a little bit of shade at Warner's and like his experience there. It seems very unlikely that he wants to come back. It seems very unlikely that he has any interest in coming back. It seems like a lot of the decisions that he made with Justice League were so he can just kind of
I feel like the only
if
way
I was in
Zack,
his position, I would too.
Yeah, totally. I feel like the only way Zack would come back, and the reason why he's playing it so like he's not, I think the only way he would come back, and he's like, is if they would let him do everything that he wanted to do, but they're not going to do that. They know they're not going to do that because like that's. No.
Do you think that it's because they're not going to allow that because it is going away from what they want the brand to look like or represent, or is it because they want somebody else?
I think here's what I personally think it is. I think it's a combination of they think they can only have one universe going on at a time. So they're like, we don't want to confuse the audience. I also think it's a combination of getting their investment back. Especially having 2 universes going on at the same time, one being like clearly an R-rated universe that who like, it's kind of like, we don't know if we're going to get the investment back, even though like Game of Thrones is the highest, like whatever, you know what I mean? But like, that's what I think they're looking at. Cause like you said, they're running a business. So like, that's what I think their mindset is.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, cause Cody, I think we were talking about this, Danny. Cody said, do you think with the positivity revolving around the Justice League, do you think that Warner Brothers just throws all the money at Zack to continue his vision for the DCU? And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. I think with that,
Thanks, Cody.
You have a character that, to almost everybody's points, you have a character in the Flash that can literally join any versions of these characters up in a final battle against a said Darkseid in his team. Right. So with the Matt Reeves stuff going on, with all these other characters, you have a character in the Flash that can jump from Earth to Earth to Earth to assimilate a team. Right. So you have that ability with the Flash. So will they do that? I have no idea. I don't work for Warner Brothers. But at the same time, I think that it would be very
it's a unique opportunity to like,
it'd be very, Yeah, it'd be very arrogant for Warner Brothers to not at least acknowledge the fact that, hey, this has been wildly successful on the platform that we have on streaming right now, even though there's really nothing on our streaming platform that brought anybody over to the platform.
Dude, Warner Brothers isn't advertising this at all.
Yeah.
At all. That's
I know.
all fan. And like some HBO Max, but like that's all fan. That's impressive.
That
bro.
goes
So,
to
like,
tell you that tells you right there. Like, I don't know.
Right,
Well,
like-
it wasn't Warner Brothers who made this decision. It was AT&T went over Warner Bros. Head or Warner Media, because Warner Media is not, it's not Warner Bros. Anymore. They're now
Right.
In the Russian
True.
nesting doll
Right.
of owned by AT&T, that
Right.
which basically went and said, yeah, we're going to do this. And so I really do think, I personally, and I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, so I'm sorry if you believe differently. Everyone's entitled to their to their opinion on this until something happens.
Right.
My personal belief is that I don't think Zack should make any more DC movies. I think they should give him an HBO Max show and let him do what he needs to do on there, because the fact of the matter is that it isn't really a reasonable thing from a studio perspective to be releasing 3 to 4 hour movies in theaters. From a financial standpoint, you can only put it in so many theaters, and not everybody's going to want to go see them. If it doesn't appeal to a younger audience, like, that's going to cut your demographic in half. And when you're spending $300 to $400 million on a superhero movie, you need to make sure that you're going to be able to get that return domestically and internationally. That being said, though, it would almost be a perfect situation to give him an HBO Max show, because then he can make it as long as he needs to be, and it feels like it would probably be less financial pressure than a multi-million-dollar blockbuster movie.
I mean, like, this movie clearly has its audience and it's big.
Right.
Like
We're a part of that audience too.
Absolutely.
I mean, shit,
And-
we watched it.
Right. And apart from that, Zack has his audience, like, before this. You know what I mean? Like, and I think people would watch his stuff, dude, especially given how interesting his visuals are and how long his stories are. Like, give him long format storytelling, let him flourish.
I think that's
Right.
what he does best. I think long format would probably be. I think he
I'm
would.
surprised he hasn't made more shows instead
Yeah.
of movies.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that long form is probably going to be his next step, even if it's not DC.
Yeah, I think so
I
too.
hope so, because frankly, like, if you look at the Snyder Cut, it's not a movie.
Yeah, it's not.
not a movie.
No,
It's not.
This
It's
is
a 6-part series.
It almost feels like a 6-part miniseries. I mean, obviously it's a movie that I'm being.
No, I know what you mean though. Like,
but
it
like-
plays like a series, like an
Yeah,
epic,
you
like
could
a
easily
bunch of comic
rearrange
books.
it episodic.
Absolutely.
Right. And it works so well. And if you think about it, the theatrical version of Batman versus Superman is nothing compared to the Ultimate Edition. The Ultimate Edition had so much more information that makes it the essential watching. Like, Andrew was like, "Oh, do I watch the extended cut or do I watch the theatrical?" I'm like, "Don't watch the theatrical. You're gonna miss
You're gonna miss story.
key elements." And the thing is like, if Zack keeps making these movies for theaters and he keeps making them 3-hour director cuts that aren't even
Right.
going to be in the theater, it's not just doing his own movie a disservice, it's doing the audience a disservice as well.
For sure.
His stories work so much better in long form that I think that if they could get the budgets right, like, he could make, like, if he, like, that Deathstroke Batman show that they're talking about, or even Justice League Part 2 or 3, making that a show, bro, like, it would make it was stupid money. Stupid money.
Stupid
Yeah,
money.
no. Someone said in the chat they were like, the TV show wouldn't have enough budget for Zack's visuals. I beg to differ. If they can give DB Weiss and what's the other guy's name? I can't remember, for Game of Thrones that much money, they'll give Zack Snyder some money. Like, he
for
can
sure.
make it work.
Yeah, and
Especially after the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, after the
Right,
Snyder
I mean,
Cut, Game of Thrones. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Of course they would give him the money.
yeah, it's a tough one too, right? Because, you know, I think as somebody that's only seen his movies, and, like, even though I agree that they're long, I think in that sense, I'm not sure, like, what would a show of his feel like? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's the other side of it too, where it's like, even though these are movies, they are long movies. No, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that, but it's like,
Right.
like, is
Yeah.
Even though this was separated in parts, it still felt like it didn't feel like WandaVision, right? It didn't feel like, and I'm not saying you couldn't re-edit it to do that, but it was the intent of that movie was shot as a movie. It wasn't it wasn't intended to be shot as a show. So it's like,
I'm sorry, please continue your point. Sorry.
No. But I agree with you in sense of, since he likes telling longer stories, I'm more curious, like, okay, what does a Zack Snyder superhero show look like? Like what does it look like? Because right now we're just seeing longer movies that could potentially be, edited and changed, but it's like, what does a show of his
I think it'd be better.
look like?
I think it'd be better. I honestly do. I think that this 3.5 hour epic that we just saw goes to show you 4
hours, 2 minutes.
Yeah, 4 hours, 2 minutes of this epic that we just. I think it gives you that context of like, no, he could do long format, and I think it would be better because I think we would get better information. We would tonally get better transitions, better editing. Also, I think from episode to episode, just like with Game of Thrones, there would be an underlying like theme to each one that would then give you an entire palatable portrait, right? Like I honestly think it would just be better. I think that, I don't know, I didn't have a lot of faith with how much I went into this kind of skeptical, like this is too long, it's going to be weird, there's going to be too much information that's thrown at you. But the way that he broke it up, I think it goes, I think that his next move on a business level should be long form. That's just my opinion.
It felt like something different. Like it didn't feel like a show, but it didn't really feel like a movie either. It felt like a cinematic experience.
Dude, it felt like an event.
An event.
Yeah, it felt like an event.
I would be okay with like events or cinematic experiences like this,
right?
Because it is so unique. The only difference is like SnyderCut costs like $400 million. Like you can't spend that much on a show.
But I think it were like so. Here's the thing, right? So it's like I wonder how much the original budget was for the movie without the Whedon reshoot. The original budget for his movie plus the stuff that he needed to reshoot.
I'm going 300 million.
300 million?
That's what
I think it. BVS cost around 400 million, making it one of the most expensive films.
I think it was over 400 million, dude.
Yeah, I think it was over 400 million too. And I think they dropped the budget for this one down to like, somebody in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong. Last time I checked, I think it was around 200 something million.
You got a lot of actors in that movie.
Batman v Superman is 250 million. Justice League was 300 million.
Batman versus Superman. Can someone get double check on that? Because that I think I read back when it came out that it was the reason why it was such a problem was because they had spent around 400 million and it had interrupted their it had what's the word I'm looking for, it made I think 900 million BVS, and so it doubled its profit, but that wasn't considered a success to them, which is why they kind of dug their fingers into the Snyder Cut.
400 million on something that doesn't even make $1 billion.
Right. So I could be wrong on that. I could very much be wrong. I swear when we were doing the BVS podcast that I remember seeing 400 million, or at least in the high 300s.
No, I remember we walked out. I remember we all watched it together, and I remember walking out, and it was Noel's sister, Sam. She was like, that movie cost almost $500 million, and that's what we got. And I remember because we went to go eat at Yard House, and I was thinking to myself, $500 million.
Yeah. I mean, that's
so much money,
dude. That's a 10 episode HBO series.
Yeah, that's so much money. Oh my. But here's the thing. Adonis, to your point, I don't think he would need that much. He could have broken this whole movie into an entire season, a 12 episodic season, and break it the way that The Walking Dead breaks. He could do 6 episodes, break, and then a month or two later do another 6 episodes. Oh, that's season 1. You know what I mean? To give you an example. Or he could just do a 10 episode, and I don't think he would need that much that amount of money.
325 million with reshoots, Ian says.
So BVS. Okay, that sounds about right.
So, question: would it be? I guess my next question is, what was his reasoning to? Because he had the option to do episodic for this.
Oh, he said it on a podcast. He said that based off of what I remember from watching this podcast, he said that the reason why he kind of floated the idea of like, oh, what if we cut it into episodes? And it was like they was talking about releasing weekly, and there was some like. There were some like back end like legal or structural issues, like literally like bureaucratic bullshit. And he was like, you know what, screw it, let's just release it as one thing.
Right,
Screw it.
exactly. And he was also like, it's a blessing in disguise because like people have already been waiting 5 years. They don't want to wait 5 years and one more
True.
week and one more week and one more week. So it's like,
And he's 100% right.
Yeah.
right.
Yo, I mean,
100% right.
and to be honest, I mean, as short attention span as the community is at large now, if somebody saw the first episode and wasn't ready to watch the second, they may fall off completely.
Absolutely.
So I think that's one of the things too, that having it in one go was probably the better bet for sure.
Agreed.
But I just can't believe how popular, like what kind of reception it's had. It's shocking, to be honest.
They would be fools to ignore it. Like whether or not to give them the reins to do more is like another thing, but they would be absolute fools. Like at the very least, like tell the actual story of Suicide Squad, like release that director's cut, and then like let that universe die.
God.
Oh, are we talking about release the Ayer?
Not the Ayer cut.
That's another podcast.
Release the Ayer cut.
Dude, Noel has wanted that since day one. As soon as he realized that we weren't going to get the actual Ayer, we weren't going to get that, Noel was like, no, I want that. That's what I want. That's what
I mean. You
that's
saw
what
the
I wanna see.
trailers. The first trailer was completely different.
Yeah.
Complete. You're like, what is the second trailer? Is a music video. All right. So here's I think the elephant in the room. We got to talk about the elephant right now.
Hey man, we love elephants.
Elephants are
We
tight.
got to talk about the elephant in the room, the epilogue. We have to talk about this.
Okay,
Yes.
before we do that, I have to go to the potty.
Run.
Unbelievable.
me-
You're
just
very
give me 1 minute.
unreasonable.
Sprint, Tony. Sprint.
So
Do we wanna bring in our guests?
let's bring in the guests, bro.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
They've been sitting
Guys,
here.
we have a real big surprise for you. Okay, we've been
It's
waiting
not
to
Zack
halfway
Snyder,
through
guys.
this. Shush. We've been waiting for halfway through the stream to introduce. We brought the man himself, Zack Snyder, aka Preston and Jimmy.
Yeah,
Be my
hello,
guys.
guys.
What's poppin'?
Can we see him? Can we see him on
Oh.
the stream?
Oh yeah,
Oh
we hear
my
him.
God.
At least we hear him.
They'll be there in a second, probably.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
press stone.
We got the best boys in the house. For those who don't know, Jimmy and Preston, formerly interns, are now a part of the Ismahawk crew. Jimmy, jack of all trades, does a little bit of everything: gripping, scripting, PA-ing, literally whatever Jimmy needs to do, Jimmy does.
He does it.
And then we got big money man Preston,
Oh,
VFX
yeah.
artist extraordinaire.
Big
So
Papa
welcome,
Pump.
boys.
Look at that
Welcome.
Stack.
Thanks for having us. It's
And
a
we got-
pleasure.
Looks like we got a Fred too, right down there.
Oh, is Fred here?
Yeah.
Oh, we got Fred here too. Look
Oh,
at-
we got
look at
Fred.
that.
Yo, what's
What up?
up?
Fred
Spicy.
Daniels.
no.
What the heck is that?
Oh, we got.
Terrifying.
This is the Batman and Joker scene we've all wanted right here.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome to the nightmare sequence.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah, nightmare indeed. Good lord.
oh boy.
Oh man.
So what did you guys think of the Snyder cut?
I had a good time, and that's all I wanted. I wanted a good time, and I enjoyed all 4 hours.
Good. Hell yeah.
It,
yeah.
it certainly was a 4-hour movie.
Fact.
That was the runtime for sure. Speaking specifically to the epilogue,
Mhm.
Chef's kiss on the nightmare sequence. I think that was my personal favorite.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
Said 4 hours.
Oh, no.
Dude.
it was a little weird when Joker was out here talking about reach arounds. I was like,
No,
I
bro,
kinda
that
liked
shit.
it, though.
Yo,
Like,
bro,
like-
that shit was vibey to me, bro.
Just scream Joker to me.
It's facts.
You
Facts.
you guys don't feel exactly the same way we feel about the movie, the Snyder Cut, do you?
I liked it. He doesn't. I liked it.
Get a little closer to your mics.
I'm trying to find as much
All right. Your boy's
positive
back.
things to say about it, but it was not. To me, there wasn't
back, boys.
enough difference in the overall plot. I think I misinterpreted the marketing of what the Snyder Cut would be. That it would be a completely different A point and B point, you know. Whereas, I think the start and the finish point for both movies is very similar thematically, but there's just more in between to kind of make us care more about said story. So I think if I would have seen this cut in theaters, the Snyder Cut first, without ever have seen the Joss cut, I would have been like, oh, this is great. You know, like not the best movie of all time, but also I would love it a bit more. Whereas I think my expectations are kind of weighing it down a little
Got
bit.
you.
That's
or
fair.
my dislike for the Justice League is weighing it down.
I mean, that was my experience. Is I didn't watch Justice League at all. Much to the
Bless
dismay.
Envy you.
Yeah. Well, Danny and Jeremy were adamant about me watching the Justice League beforehand, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So
Good man.
I watched
just
it.
couldn't do it.
I just couldn't do it, dude. So I watched the Snyder Cut as the initial one, and it's I mean, it's like it's fine, it's good. No, it was enjoyable. There were some things that like I didn't like, but then I just kind of turned off my mind from it and just tried to enjoy it as a film, and it was enjoyable. You know, 4 hours long. You felt that, as Preston says, but you know, it's still a movie. It works.
Fair enough.
It's still hot, fresh, and new content, and we love that.
That's
I mean, that's how I felt about
it.
it. Like just seeing the credits or like the titles roll, I'm like, wow, we're actually watching. I mean, new content, old, new, but it's still something fresh.
It was new enough.
It felt like a completely different experience to me.
Absolutely.
I mean, definitely you feel the whiplash of seeing those scenes that you've seen before, especially when some of the lines are the same. Like, I feel like tragically, some of the lines that I would have enjoyed or moments that I would have enjoyed, like that kind of made it over from the Joss cut. I kind of like was like, it didn't hit the same as if it would have been the first time I had seen it. And I tried to make sure that I checked myself on that, because I'm like, that's not this, like this is the real movie. You know, that's more of a fan edit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, one could argue this was a fan edit too.
True.
The fanniest of fan edits.
Right.
I mean, I think too with that story thread of like, because the main focus of this movie, like the reason why they were there was for the anti-life, which was not even in the original cut of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That was the main focus for them to even come to Earth to begin with. So that motivation was not there. We had no idea why the hell Steppenwolf, like Mother there was like a person. It seemed like, oh, Mother's coming back. It was like very like, it was very like Genova-esque when it came to like Final Fantasy VII is what it felt like. I was like, why? Who is Mother? What is going on? So it was really strange. But like, so for me, having that in this, having that connection with Steppenwolf and Darkseid, having what the Mother boxes actually were, like, that big plot device that just had no explanation in the first movie, I felt like it almost made the movie different. And then even with like the future looking stuff of like the nightmare sequence keep getting brought up of this is the future. Like that didn't happen at all.
Right.
So it was like, so it's not even, so like to me, it was like, you didn't have that ending with Darkseid of acknowledging like, oh, there's some motherfuckers over there. Like that standoff, that Western standoff vibes that you had. Like, I felt like the movie to me, like it just felt like a completely different, it almost like they forked in the road after Superman died. And it was like Justice League is an alternate timeline. And like, it's what it felt like. It is like, oh, there's a reason why these things are here versus, hey, let's get these boxes that nobody knows why they're here. And we're just going to make some stuff up as we go. Like it just felt really strange. Yeah. But
Speaking of that standoff at the end, when they kind of like mess up Steppenwolf, and then Wonder Woman just comes out and chops his freaking head off, and it just flies. I was just like, dude, Wonder Woman's so savage in this.
Yeah,
like,
she's a
I'm
badass.
Here
You don't
for
care.
it. Like,
Right.
here for it. I do have a complaint though.
This movie.
What's your complaint?
What's your complaint? What's your complaint?
Okay.
Danny?
All right, chat. I know there's a lot of you guys who are big fans. Don't roast me. I can't help the way that I feel about it. Trying to check the fanboy at the door, but it bothers me. And I know a lot of people. There's aspects of what I dislike here, and I feel like I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum, right?
Okay.
That I am not like. Out of all the characters, I loved every single member of the Justice League. The one who felt like he wasn't doing it for me the most was Batman.
Yep.
And it pains my soul to say it that I was just like, I was not feeling this version of Batman. And it might have been just the stiffness. I think that from my interpretation as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh no, you did it. You made the biggest mistake that like Christian Bale's Batman movie literally made a whole thing about this. Letting the dude move his neck. Right. Why was homie like watch it again? He's literally he's doing
especially on the ship, and he has the upgraded suit.
And it like that, but that bothers me so much, especially because it's like you know better that you need to have this actor be able to move his neck. It is really jarring. And the thing that drives me nuts is he can move his neck in BVS, and when you look at the nightmare sequence, he's wearing the BVS cowl, and guess what? He's moving his neck again. So I think that was a major deterrent for me. That was just a small thing, is that his inability to move like Batman until it cuts to the CG version of Batman, and he's doing like all the crazy moves, and like it feels like. The jump feels too jarring for me, but so it like costume wise, I was not a huge fan of the Batman costume. I feel like
Also, not a fan of the goggles.
Not a fan of the goggles.
He looks
not
like
a fan of the
he looks like
cowl.
Owlman.
Yeah, the
He
ears.
sure looks
Rocking
like
those
that
goggles
that
for
girl
sure.
with the
Neck.
glasses and turns around and it's just like this. That's what it looks
Yeah.
like to me. Like, no.
For sure.
Very
For sure.
Yeah.
My
dorky
one
in this
complaint.
movie.
My one complaint with the movie, and it sucks because like I really like the character a lot, but like unfortunately for me, the inclusion of Martian Manhunter did not work for me. Like I like the character a lot. And I even when I rewatched Man of Steel recently, and there's the part when Superman is in cuffs in the interrogation room and he's like, let's put all cards on the table, Senator or General. And he walks to the mirror. Everyone takes a step back except for the General. So like, I don't know if it was his plan the whole time to have him be somebody, but like for me,
It was though.
Right.
Yeah.
But if he had a stake in this world, like why did you do nothing, bro? Like,
Yeah.
but man.
And
They can
but see,
explain that,
I
though.
think, but I think that's the thing though, right? Where it's like, and this is the only reason why I feel the way that I feel about it is because I heard the synopsis of what the fuck is going to go down from that VFX panel. So his whole idea is
To be
not
fair.
is not the traditional like, hey, I'm going to explain everything in this movie, or the things in the previous movie is going to like he's not doing it that way.
Right.
So,
No.
and
I totally see that. I actually, and it's funny you had this panel. I wasn't on that panel, but I remember a
For
while
sure.
ago, like many cons ago, I was talking to somebody somewhere, and who knew a lot about what was going on with Justice League's plan. And I knew about, I remember the mention of Martian Manhunter and how he was going to be sprinkled, but how he was going to play a much bigger part later. And I was like, oh, that's dope. And it completely slipped my mind. But yeah, no, he had a lot of plan, like even the nightmare sequence, like that doesn't play as well as it could because we don't have the movie in which it comes full circle. So like some people are like, well, what the hell?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing where as comic book movie fans are on connected movies, let's say connected movies, our reference is Marvel. Our reference is this is how Marvel does storytelling. It's like, yeah, but that's not the only way to tell a story. Could you like it that way? Sure. But he's showing in this movie that, hey, the things that took place in BVS actually have payoff and explanation in this movie. That like, oh, like the Barry sequence, he's like, yo, hold on, that was Barry Allen. What the fuck? Like,
I love that he brought that up.
Like those
connective
things,
moment.
like are like it's not like reshoots. That was in the original cut of the movie. So it's like these things get answered later. So it's like it's so jarring for us at times because we're expecting it to be told the way that we're used to it being told. So I think that's where that's and fair. Again, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that we're gonna like what we like at the same time. And some of these differences on how people are telling stories, it's really hard to like, okay, well, they didn't explain that. It's like, yeah, they didn't explain it yet. It may come in something else, but to your point, Danny had made this before. Like, you don't really know if you're going to get those other movies, though.
Yeah,
so
and that's exactly why he did the nightmare sequence, is because he was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to come back to this universe. And all honestly, I'm probably not going to be able to, but I cannot leave this universe without having Batman and Joker at least talk to each other. And he's like, that was the biggest reason for the nightmare sequence, and so that there was another nightmare sequence that could go.
It felt Martian Manhunter definitely felt a lot like he was put in at the last minute as fan service because of what Noel just said. I want to make sure that I give the fans everything that they want in this as much as I can that makes this good and makes sense. And I really like appreciate that because he's like, if I don't come back, I'm at least gonna just cram all my ideas that I wanted to do.
Exactly.
We're gonna talk about how Joker killed Robin and Harley Quinn died in Batman's arms and stuff like that.
Can we just talk about that right now,
dude?
Can we just talk about that?
Before we do, though, can we hit a couple of super chats?
100%.
I think a couple of them have been building up.
So we got Shross Hassan says, deeply grateful. Both seeing you lovable goons and having this space to reconnect with community. Your joy balanced with amazing discussion lifted my spirit so much, and I'm so proud. All the love.
Sarosh is an OG.
Love you,
to you, Sarosh.
Miss you.
We got Merc and Joe from Merc.
Merca.
We got Deathstroke was thrown around for many movies. Suicide Squad 2, The Batman, his own solo, but all of them were canceled. But would you like to see more of him? Ideally for me, it has to be solo.
I would love to see more of him. I think it would be dope to see Batman and Deathstroke face off. Like that would be so dope.
Deathstroke movie though?
I'd be here for it. He's an interesting character.
Yeah.
He's a super interesting character. I'm down.
Yeah. I'm down for any Deathstroke. Please just give me Deathstroke in live action. Like I'm here for Deathstroke. God damn it, Noel. Come on.
That wasn't even me. How are you gonna blame me?
Yeah, Noel.
Damn it, Adonis.
You see, guys, I still have
I'm throwing voices now.
Yeah,
of course it's Adonis. But no, I'm here for Deathstroke thing. Let's bring me all the Deathstroke.
I don't know if he can carry his own movie though. No.
You don't think so, Jeremy?
If Ant-Man can carry his own movie,
I think
Deathstroke
so.
sure as hell can carry his own movie.
I don't mean in terms of the creative side. I mean like as a business decision.
Oh, you mean like dollars and cents? I understand.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I feel like he could be like a Punisher type character.
Like I was gonna say, I feel like if he was a character that was like at odds with Batman at first and then became an anti-hero, but like maybe so like not necessarily his solo movie, but like the movie is about him.
I want to see a show.
Would you think
show first and then the movie?
He's in he's in a DC animated show on HBO Max.
Yeah. I mean like what I mean, I might also be biased because I really like the new MCU, like Disney Plus shows, but like that's a perfect way to start fleshing out characters and then bringing them into the fold.
Agreed.
Do you think that, so like, that's an interesting point that you make there, Jeremy, because would you say that like Wanda and Vision have more of a fan base than Deathstroke?
Now.
In those
they
specific
have like
versions, yeah.
They have like 6 movies or like 4 movies that they're in.
Like
to kind
not
of build,
just any
kind of build
movies,
them up.
tentpole films, blockbusters.
I would really like to see like a study on that, you know, to see if like what the numbers would look like for Deathstroke.
I think fans would get behind Deathstroke because I think
they
that
would too.
he's appeared in enough animated shows. People know who he is, at least on a surface level. Hardcore fans are big fans of Deathstroke, but I feel like the
Arrow
mainstream.
series.
It was in the
Arrow.
Arrow series. He may the mainstream audience may not be familiar with him, but I feel like they could gravitate toward him. I mean, he's a one-eyed, sword-wielding, gun-toting, super smart ex like special forces mercenary assassin that like I don't know. I feel like he could carry his own, but I mean I guess I'm biased because I'm a huge Deathstroke fan.
mainstream audiences will be just like, is that another Deadpool? Is that Spider-Man?
Fair.
How do you confuse Deathstroke, Deadpool, and Spider-Man?
Bruh.
It happens.
These normies.
So we got Randy Perez says, in Zack's full plan, Batman saves Lois from Darkseid and dies to prevent the nightmare timeline from happening. And at the end of the saga, Clark and Lois' son becomes the future Batman because he's born without powers.
Without powers, yeah.
Yeah, I read that earlier.
So here's the thing. I know he pitched his original idea was to have Lois and Bruce have like a romance, but the studio said no to that, and he was like, okay, so this Justice League movie that we got and the continuity moving forward, if he were to do that, would not include that romance. Like that is established in this movie. So I am, having said that, I'm cool with not that because I didn't want that romance. But like I like that in the nightmare sequence because like in case he didn't come back, like that whole scene between Batman and Joker basically laid out like what was going to happen in the future. Like you're gonna have to sacrifice yourself in order for this thing to go right. And like I thought that was dope. Interesting. Like
story-wise, but yeah. Story-wise, like it made sense to be there. I just don't like Jared Leto as Joker.
That's
like,
fair.
This kind of solidified it for me. Like before, it was like, oh, he wasn't given the right material, like they cut scenes out and stuff, like some technical thing or business thing. But now is in the Snyder Cut with his full glory and is him able to like do what he wants to do. I'm not feeling it personally.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that particular story thread, but I think with, you know, them showing a lot of the nightmare stuff, it has a very Injustice vibe to it, right? So seeing where that goes is super interesting. I think that could be really dope to watch. Again, and I think too, because it's such a stark difference with Marvel. Like it's such a stark difference. So
no pun intended.
Like right. So I do like that a lot. And I know some people are like, oh, this looks like, I mean, I think a lot of people too that aren't into film or not into comics that are like, oh, that reminded me of Thor and blah, blah. It's like, bro, like this movie was shot years before. Like the act sequence, like go for the head. It's like, yeah, but that was done before that movie ever came out. Yeah. Which is kind of like, I wonder if Whedon was like, hey, yo, these are some shots y'all might want to take. Since it's not in the movie. But I feel like, you know, it could be interesting, but I don't know if that's what I'm kind of with Noel on that one. I don't know if that's the romance I want to see either.
Right. Like I said, and we're not going to be able to see that story like play out. So who knows, like maybe Zack's storytelling will give us like the emotion that is required to be emotionally invested once we see that happens. But like on paper, that's not something that I'd be interested in seeing. No.
Right.
Yeah, I know how I feel about that idea on the surface, and it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I'm actually good if we just go the Batman Deathstroke route and kind of avoid the Superman bat child. Go ahead, Adonis.
So King Breeze said, still fuming that it's Dick, especially when Jason has the same fate, but that nightmare convo was chef's kiss. Can we have a live every 6 months?
We'll see. I mean, if there's enough like demand for us to kind of keep coming back and do lives, we'll definitely consider it. It all depends on time and schedule and availability and all of those annoying things that like that. But as far as like the feeling about Dick being in Jason's position, I mean, look, dog, I think y'all know how I feel about that. You know, it's like there's a lot of creative liberties that can be taken, I think, with different filmmakers. I think like rearranging characters like that is just it doesn't really feel right to me as like a longtime fan. It feels like one of those things that like is done by someone who doesn't really know or care about the source material, and that's fine. Again, like the fanboyism is something that I'm aware of. I'm like, I know that I love these characters and I'm very attached, but yeah, I'm not a huge. I mean, me and Noel have talked about it. It's just because we love Jason Todd as a character, and we love Dick Grayson as characters. And by killing Dick off in this, you're basically you're doing two things. You're clipping our wings and saying two things are never going to happen. You're never going to have Nightwing, and you're never going to have Red Hood. At least not in the way that they would be actually truthful to the essence of their character. So that's how I feel.
Danny, that being said, would you accept the offer to play Dick in a flashback sequence being killed by Jared Leto?
What kind of question? Of course I would. Are you kidding me?
And the sellout shows.
I would instantly apologize to Zack Snyder and say, I'm sorry for everything I just said.
We would delete
Please
this
forgive
live.
me. We'll delete this live. No, I mean like, well, I mean, first of all, that would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I just like I would have written it differently if it was me. But again,
Oh, for sure.
I'm the guy who co-wrote Nightwing the series featuring Jason Todd and Dick Grayson and Deathstroke. So what do you expect?
Kareem Erdenik says, Danny, is it your headcanon that your Dick Grayson would absolutely body the Jared Leto Joker? Is it just it is mine? That's what he says.
Karem is the man, dude. Karem actually, a lot of people don't know this. Shout out to Karem. Karem voiced Joker and Batman in our Winter Soldier versus Red Hood death battle. He literally did both of those characters. Go watch it again and listen to the voices. He's so good, dude. We're working with
ridiculous.
him on another project that we're working on with Tony with. So anyway,
Great voice.
is it my headcanon? It's not my headcanon that my Nightwing would body anybody because I try not to be a douche about it.
Well said. That was funny.
But hey, if that's your headcanon, Karem, then I am very flattered, my man.
I try not to be a
Much
douche.
love.
Bro, I'm gonna make that my new Twitter handle. I try not to be a douche.
I try not to be.
Not trying very hard, Tony.
Hey, you know what, Jeremy? I love this
Giving
douche.
it the old college try.
Hey,
Yeah.
I do love that dude.
mom goes to college.
What? What's up?
Somebody's douche.
Your mom does a college.
What? I didn't say that.
Yeah, okay. You're right.
Anyway,
Any more super chats? Before we talk about the nightmare
Let me
sequence?
get schooly doot doo.
Scoo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
how would you guys feel if it was Joaquin Phoenix's Joker instead of Jared Leto's Joker in the same scene?
Can I be
I would
honest?
feel-
Can I be honest?
Go for it.
I'd feel much better.
Why?
I don't think it would have fit in the universe particularly, but I just
Yeah, that was kind of my
I'm gonna
thought,
leave it
too.
at that. That's all I'm gonna say about that, Jeremy.
Okay.
I think the tone fits a little bit better, but I don't know if it would have been a great match. You know what I mean?
Probably
I don't.
would
I think those two
probably would
characters are in completely different universes, and
Yeah.
in the way I see
It would have
you
confused
know?
everybody. It would have
It would've
confused
confused
absolutely
me.
everybody.
Yeah. So is Jared Leto.
I'm already confused about the DC EU. So
that was funny, Jeremy.
All right.
I think we're good at the moment, though. Nothing that's like not pertinent to the actual conversation.
All right. So the nightmare sequence.
Yes.
Nightmare sequence. Let's dive in, guys. This is the big one. This is the extra scene that was shot.
So before we get in, does everyone know how he shot this scene? Because once I learned how he did it, I was like, wow.
No, I don't. I do
No.
not.
I'm not familiar now.
Ezra Miller was on set for Fantastic Beasts in London in a completely different continent shooting his scene. Like the crew of Fantastic Beasts shot the scene. Zack zoomed in, literally like what we're doing, and directed via Zoom. their schedules, everyone's schedules didn't line up. So Ben Affleck and Jared Leto had to shoot on 2 separate days. I think the only people that were actually in the same room together was Ray and Amber. I think Ray, Amber, and possibly Ben, but I don't even know if Ben was with him. I think Ben had his own separate day. So like they all were shot separately. So the fact that that scene even can work the way it does to me is mind blowing.
What?
That's insane.
That's wild.
I gotta say though that like I think it did suffer because of that, because they recycled the same coverage for Batman and Joker, and I was like, the whole time I was like, why are we doing shot reverse shot for every single shot? I
No
mean,
one
this
else is
like,
in frame.
No one else is in frame. This is shot reverse shot. This is very basic for Zack Snyder. This is the most basic coverage I've seen in this entire
especially since
movie.
you've just watched 4 hours of like good coverage.
Right.
Yeah, one shots with like sweeping motion and like several characters in a large room with different lines and different
Surprised there were no
cues.
dolly shots in Nightmare Sequence. The whole movie is a dolly shot.
That being said, I think it was
Dolly
pretty
Parton.
cool and dope that they were able to put it together like that.
Yeah.
That worked really well for being such an unorthodox situation. But that also does make sense because the first time I watched it was thinking about why they kept racking in and out of focus on Jared Leto.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was like to make his makeup look better or.
I mean, usually that's what you do on a music video because you don't have the budget to get any other coverage. So, I mean, that straight up looked like a music video shoot to me.
I also
Throw
I
one
also
light
imagine
and
it
then super shallow out of focus, handheld, move back and forth.
exactly. I also imagine it was a combination like of trying to not cut corners, but like make the visual effects possible to be finished basically by time.
It's probably fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
still
mean-
wild. That's still wild. That's like
It's a
whole nother
very
level.
odd. Yeah.
Like definitely no hate. I noticed the shot reverse shot and thought I was and I was very confused because it just didn't feel like I was like, Zack Snyder doesn't recycle coverage. That's not the kind of
Compromise
filmmaker
for
he is.
schedule.
Clearly.
You're trying
and
to schedule all these like A-listers.
and it was pretty seamless.
That seems like a nightmare.
Oh,
It's a nightmare.
zinger.
Boo.
I see what you did there, and it was cute.
I think
was
it
a-
kinda worked in his favor though, because it did make the whole sequence feel not only like it felt like a scene from a different movie or even a different universe, which works because it is essentially that. Even
that's
if that is
fair.
supposed
Yeah.
to be the correct timeline, it did. Whether you notice why that is, whether it's the reverse shot or not, or you're just like something's just a little off here. I think that's.
I
maybe
thought it
how
was Mira's accent that kept going in and out, or the fact that she was like, "I'm gonna stab Superman in the heart with this big fork." I'm like, yeah, okay.
No, because she had a jug of water she was gonna waterboard him with.
She was gonna waterboard him. You know what? I feel like that's gonna work way better than trying to stab him.
Yeah.
So
Try to
man,
stab
you
him.
never
See
know.
what
Kryptonite
happens.
on the end, dog.
there you go. No,
It's all tech.
There you go.
It's all
Call
tech.
it kryptonite drip. I mean, all right.
Drip tonight.
Not the
yeah.
drip.
You had to.
Uh,
You had to do it. You just
I
had
was
to do
feeling it, and I was like, he's not gonna do that.
it. Mm.
And then you did it. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
guess
Full
what?
of surprises.
Here he is
All right.
doing it.
So, all right, Joker, redemption or not?
For me personally, I never particularly had, my problem was never with Jared Leto. My problem was with the studio and a little bit with David Ayer and like his very particular vision. But like my ultimate big problem was with the studio and them cutting out the performance of Joker. So like, I'm glad that we got to see, even like, especially because this is more than likely going to be the last time, I'm glad that we got to see the Joker, how he's meant to be used as the opposing Batman. You know what I mean? Even though they're working together, like this scene is clearly meant to show you that they are still at odds with each other.
Right.
And I thought, now I don't know if it like redeemed him as like, oh, like he's fine, like nothing, like, you know what I mean? But like I do think like it was very relieving to see him be the Joker and not just some like
Caricature of himself.
yeah.
Path
Yeah.
to redemption.
Super extra.
Yeah.
A little closer to the mic, Jim Jam.
It put him on the path to redemption. It didn't quite redeem him, but we're getting there. And it's sad that we might not actually get to see that come full. But
I agree with that. I totally agree with Jeremy here. And I say that with the whole Joaquin situation. I just liked Joaquin's performance better, but I don't necessarily think that was Jared's fault, because there are moments when Jared in Suicide Squad that I was like, that was some good shit there, bud. Like, I enjoyed that a lot.
Hunka.
And like there was
Why?
That's it. That's it right there.
and there was actually moments as well in this, very basic scene that were very, very good acting. Like, and I was like, I believe.
I mean, there's
Joker.
no debate that he's a good actor.
No, I meant per the character, Jeremy. I meant acting per the character. I just, that moment where he kind of, you see him break that emotional ineptness that he has.
For like a second, he's like, "You're good."
Yeah, and I
Right.
thought that was like really well done. I thought that was like, holy shit, dude. Like that
Yeah,
is
I thought that one
exactly
was cool.
how
But
Joker
then
would
it's
react.
a moment, just a moment.
Mhm.
You know,
I
Yeah,
didn't
I felt-
hate it. Oh, go ahead, Adonis.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I didn't hate it.
You certainly did
Yeah.
before, so like that's cool to hear.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing is the big thing that bothered me about the Suicide Squad one was the writing and the tattoos and the outfit. Those all kind of combined were just like, I was like, this is just a little too it's a little too stylized for me in this way. Again, just kind of the personal feelings on the aesthetic kind of really affected it. The grill, I also thought was a detriment to his performance, because then he's got this thing in his mouth. He's talking like this, so he's doing this action, but he can't really.
He's got an ADR
enunciate
like
'cause
all
he's-
of his lines basically.
Batman's a
Yeah.
real wise guy, yeah.
You can hear it in
Yeah,
his, you can hear it
see?
in his voice that his voice is affected by having the thing on his teeth. So,
Right.
I didn't. Again, like, so my feeling on his actual performance and his look, and I was actually kind of like, I was like, this dude looks creepy. This dude looks like the Joker. He's saying jokery things.
He's
I
getting
felt-
under Batman's skin, which is what Joker does.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the best we have seen of Jared Leto's Joker. And frankly, I think that he has potential. I mean, he's so creepy looking with the no eyebrows and the big blue eyes and the I mean, that's like creepy shit, man.
That old man laugh is like surprisingly upsetting. Like
Yeah.
It's very off-putting. Am I in love with the performance? Am I in love with this version of Joker? I can't really say. I can't really say that. If this was the last time we saw of Jared Leto's Joker, I'm glad he got to have this moment. I think that
Agreed.
this was. I think this was, again, a big win for his ability to just, and also being able to act opposite Batman
Right.
is how we need to see the Joker. So I enjoyed myself during the moment.
Yeah, I think I'm in the camp of when I saw Suicide Squad, it was more so of like it felt that he got dumped on like hardcore because he didn't have like I guess the stuff that he was supposed to be in the movie didn't get put in the movie. So didn't really get a chance to actually see him as Joker. And then
Right.
you have like, arguably one of the most popular villains in comic book history as a side character. It was very strange. You're like,
Yeah.
what?
right.
That was a little
It was just
off-putting.
really weird. It's like, why would you do that?
Weird decisions.
Yeah, it was like really dumb. And then it kind of got to the point of like, oh, his Joker was trash. It's like, well, he really didn't have time to be the Joker. He was just kind of like, it was just really weird. It was a really weird scenario. So seeing him in this for me, it was I was actually really excited because it felt like he felt like the Joker. Like he felt creepy as fuck. And I think even with him, like the stuff that he was saying, like he's like, Batman, I ain't scared of you. Like he had that I ain't scared of you vibe. Like I'm gonna say what the fuck I want. Like, and it was just like,
Right. I mean, he's like, we should all be dead anyway. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
say
Right.
what I want.
and it was just like just how
There's
he
nothing
said
you can
stuff.
do with all of your muscles.
It was just how he was saying stuff. I was like, bro, like it just felt dope. Like it felt like they had history.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel
Yes.
like they were there talking about something. It felt like they had history in this little short thing. And I was like, oh my God. And he was just like, oh, you know, he knows all about that. You know, like a father, like a mother.
Yeah, they
He
did
was
that
like,
well.
Be very careful about what you say next.
Yeah.
And then like when he was like an adopted son, he was like, that wasn't very careful. Like it was just, it was, but it was one of those things where it's like,
Should have knocked his teeth
See,
out there.
See, yeah, and then this is where I'm like, I like, trust me, if we've experienced the hardships of scheduling and even on just an independent level, I can't imagine that when you're working with A-list talent who's constantly on different projects, how challenging that would be. So during COVID, so I'm not like, this is not like mad respect for making the scene look as convincing as it is, but that was the moment where he fucking grabs him.
right.
That's the moment we need that physical interaction.
Right.
And
he laughs it off or like,
Agreed. Yeah, no,
Right.
totally.
yeah,
Right.
that
sure.
was the moment I
For
needed.
sure.
Like that, instead of that wasn't very careful. It was like boom, like that. And then then he keeps talking, and then Batman
Right.
has to let him go. You know, like
right.
or like the other people on the crew are like Bruce, like
Hey,
yo,
chill out.
like you need to chill out, dude.
Chill out.
Like this is where that would have been a benefit. But again, I'm glad we had the sequence. Sorry, please continue your.
No,
thought.
you're
just
fine.
had to chime
I
in.
agree with you 100%. I think those are the things too, where like even the dialogue to me was so fire of like him just acknowledging, like, look, man, you don't want to hurt me. I'm your best friend. Like just
friend.
like who's gonna give you a reach around? Like that shit just felt. It just felt like something that Joker would say. Like, I'm
no,
just like,
totally,
bro.
because he's like, no, I completely agree. 'Cause,
Like-
like the fact, like the Joker. Here's the thing, like, and like it seems to be in canon with what Zack was trying to do. Like, Joker only exists because of Batman, and like and in fact, Joker exists for Batman specifically.
Right.
Like, he loves Batman. He's
He's
obsessed with him.
Yeah, he's obsessed with
So
him.
like, I love that he's like, you're my bet. Like, he thinks so highly of himself.
Right. I just
Very
thought
Joker-like.
that was just amazing to me. Like, I don't know that
That
whole
was very,
sequence,
yeah.
I just really liked Gerald's performance. Like, I don't know why. Like, I get that. Why am I brain fart right now? Dark Knight. His Joker.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. While Heath Ledger's Joker is dope for that universe, like I'm gonna be honest, like the Dark Knight universe to me is not my favorite Batman universe. I just don't. If I think of Batman, that's not my favorite universe. Like I'm not cool. Like I'm
That's
not with the brooding
very
voice.
fair.
I'm cool with that. I'm not. It's too normal. It's too not superhero. So
Yeah.
it's like I want to see him in the superhero universe. So I get that. That's fine. So even in that, like I love Heath's performance. I always thought it was dope, but it still didn't feel comic book enough to me. So like when I see this, it's like, oh, this reminds me of watching like Batman animated series. Like this reminds me of an adult version of that. So it just felt like that to me, or I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like we adult in this thing right now. I like it.
Agreed.
Well, like that, the line that Bruce has afterwards is like, he says, "I am going to fucking kill you."
Oh,
Like, you're like,
I love that a lot. I know a lot of people might not have dug that because like Batman. Well, first of all, we've seen Batman kill, but like we're in this world. We're in this nightmare world. Like, you know what I mean? Like all bets are off. I'm gonna fucking kill you, bro. Like,
Right.
I love
the
that.
delivery on that line was so good.
So
Yeah.
I wish like I and like we've been saying, like obviously schedules didn't align, but like I wish we could have seen them together when
Physically
that line
Yes,
was delivered.
absolutely.
So may I ask you, would you want to see them in future stuff together
Dude,
though?
yes. Based on that scene and the chemistry that they have without even fucking being with each other, hell yeah, I want to see. I
think-
want to see them at least one more scene physically together.
I think that Jared is also the kind of actor that only gets better with a character. The
Mm.
longer you give him, the more in depth he's going to become. So
He's
yeah,
an
no, I
excellent
would.
actor.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Yeah, I would be really interested to see where he would go with that.
I'd personally much rather watch like a whole movie of the Nightmare timeline or the Nightmare universe, whatever you want to call it. More so, whether that is labeled just Justice League 2 or whatever you want to call it, I'd much rather see that than any other exploration of the Snyderverse.
That's
Just
fair.
based off that one scene alone.
That's very fair. Because that is true. Because you're like, this is interesting. You have Mira because Arthur is dead. Holy shit. You have him teaming up with Deathstroke, which is like, holy shit, he's him. And then you got him teaming up with Joker, which is like, okay, what's going on in this world that like you're working with? Right.
Right.
And that's a play on Endgame too. That's a play on Endgame because look at all it's worked in the past. You know, when main characters are dead, main superheroes are dead, you can still make it work. And then the payoff, if it works, is going to be even better. You know, Assemble. I'll just say that one line, and we all know what moment that was because your boy almost shit his pants.
Like always.
You know, that's how it goes, Jeremy. Okay, I have overactive bowels. Why do you always have to bring it up? I don't understand why you have to make me feel bad about it.
He's sensitive about these bowels. He's sensitive about your bowels.
Yeah, so
hey,
is bowels.
So maybe I had some apple cider vinegar that day. That's none of your business.
Hey man.
Come on, man.
Hey man. Not the apple.
Oh no.
Oh
ridiculous.
no. Okay.
So I don't know if you guys, I only read this because I avoid spoilers, like they're a thing that you avoid. But like I specifically, right. Yeah. Okay. So I specifically read what his plans were for Justice League 2 and 3. One, because this is going back to what Adonis was saying. He saw that panel, and I was talking like to some people who like saw the costume designs of these characters. So I saw these costumes like way back in the day, and like I have finally just saw these costumes now in this movie.
Yeah, right. Cyborg Jedi.
Right, exactly. And like and so I also heard story beats, like, and I was told that Aquaman was gonna die, and I was like, holy shit, Aquaman's gonna die. Like I at first I didn't believe them. I'm not gonna, yeah. And then they also said like that Joker was going to play a very big part in helping Batman. Like he was going to steal a mother box, and with the help of the mother box, the Flash was going to go back in time and reverse effects. And I was like, that's how the Joker, like that would have been dope as hell, because they're at odds the entire time, and he's just using Joker. And I'm sure the Joker is trying to thinks he's using, like, I don't know, that would have been a dope like struggle to see.
That would have been a really good.
Was talking to was dropping a lot of shit.
Yeah, they were.
That was a legitimate source.
Yeah, so I think that would have been a really good way too. If I would actually like to see that they could actually do that and completely save Batman for so many people right now. Because what you could do is you could
and Joker
right now, you could depict it specifically in this universe. You could redeem both the Joker and Batman's arc, and also show the audience how smart Batman really is. Because in this Snyder Cut, I had a really hard time with Batman. Like they just made him out to be like this, like, I'm just a billionaire or a trillionaire, and that's my superpower. Like, oh yeah, no, I own 6 satellites. That's how I'm able to do things. It's like, no. Hit the brakes, dude. Like, right. Batman isn't just those things. Batman is the epitome of what you do with those things. Like, not just on a money level, but you go find the resources to become a martial artist, the best in the world, to learn every single thing that you possibly can to basically become a genius. Like,
you spare no expense. You
spare no expense, obviously, but like, I felt like we kind of missed. That's really the only thing that we missed out of this entire cut, was that I felt like I didn't get Batman, like the Batman that I know.
I mean, I felt like we got it in. I thought I see what you're saying, but I feel because it wasn't really a detective type of thing. It was more so of him assembling everything.
Yeah.
Right. Like he had to find the people. He had to know who to talk to. So in BVS at the end, he had already done research on these people. Yeah. That was like a deleted scene on it. Where like, oh yeah, I got this blah blah, and he obviously sent this photo back to Diana, and he's like, oh, what the fuck is this you? Like, so I feel like in this, because he had to play Avengers Assemble, it was like that was his focus of this, is putting this team together because he knew something was coming. So in a sense, he's kind of like, he is Batman-esque, but I don't know if this movie really called for his detective work.
But like, you're making it a point though, but like, how was Marvel able to do that in Endgame with Robert Downey Jr. in only one sequence of him figuring out how to time travel? Why couldn't we have cut one of those weird Icelandic songs and gotten a little bit more of detective from Bruce Wayne.
But that's
no,
what I'm
I want to
saying.
see this
I feel-
Icelandic
I
acapella song.
I feel like that's the thing though, where it's like that played to Tony's character. I feel like in this though, it's like the story wasn't calling for his detective work, though, is what I'm saying. Like his detective work had already paid off prior. So it's like he's like, all right, I now have to execute on my work. Which
I disagree.
he did, which was put the
Because
team together.
No, because Jeremy Irons as Alfred did all the work.
No. I think I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the detective work. What was the detective work that needed to be done in this movie?
Well, Jeremy Irons and I'm sorry, Alfred and Cyborg did all that. Like Cyborg came up with the entire plan
Of what?
to take down the dome. That wasn't Batman. He was like, "Oh, I have 6 satellites."
That's strategist.
That's strategy though. So
But
like
that's what Batman does.
That is.
yeah, but I mean, but you
kinda
have
see what-
but you have Cyborg there that's literally connected to every electrical and anything.
I get
like,
that.
So
No, I
so,
totally
like,
get it.
Yeah, and I think Batman was bringing in these teammates into the fold for this reason, because he needed, to delegate and stuff, because he was worried about other things.
Yeah, I understand.
I kind of see where Tony's coming from.
Yeah,
Not that
I
I
can see
necessarily think like the detective aspect needed to be here, but I do feel like there was something missing from Batman that felt slightly off to me. Like I was just like,
do you feel like maybe
I
it
don't know,
wasn't maybe it wasn't like it felt like he was almost not in control?
it felt like he was almost not Bruce Wayne. He was almost not Batman. He felt a little too animated, and every canonical version of Batman I could think of is just a bit more stoic. There's just a little bit more stoicism. There's no
To the
quips.
point of being an asshole.
To the point of being an asshole, or to the point of being short, to the point of always being the smartest person in the room, and kind of not necessarily always being arrogant, but think about like the Justice League Unlimited and Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. He's very much a Jeremy type person, where he only speaks when it's entirely necessary for him to get, for him to communicate. And this Batman was quite talkative, was making quips and one-liners. I'm rich. I'm like, Batman wouldn't say shit. He would just like kind of
He
like
would literally just stare at you. And
he would kind of like just turn his head and
No,
just
he
like,
would rev the engine. He would rev the engine. He
yeah,
would
that's
look at
his
him
way of saying he's rich.
and just rev the engine.
He was too
Yeah.
happy. He was
a
just
little
like-
too jovial.
Yeah.
A little too jovial. And honestly, again, like that's not really a problem with the movie, I don't think. That's more my opinion of the character.
And you could have
you know
even
what I mean?
played off of that. You could have made a joke about his stoicism. Like he could have been stoic. Like if you want to put a quip, fine, make it a quip. But like almost like maybe get a moment. If you want him to be jovial, fine, but play against the stoicism, kind of the
He's
way
a
that
straight man.
Exactly.
Make him
Exactly. Like that moment when Jeremy
Especially
Irons
if you're
is
going to take Barry Allen that direction.
Exactly,
in that
yeah.
scene.
yeah.
and you could have like that moment where Alfred's like, what the hell are we doing? How are you okay right now? And you could have had a moment there where he almost makes fun of himself, but it's almost like he can't do it. Like because Batman can't make fun of himself. It's impossible for him to do that. So you could have played against that,
Do you think maybe because he had to play like the Superman role, that in assembling the team and all that stuff, like you think because of that, and he had to kind of be like the captain of the ship, so to speak, that he needed to be more of that versus being like the Batman that a lot of us see in these animated shows, where he's like your point, he's like, I'm gonna be in the cut until I need to tell y'all something.
I mean, Alfred specifically says maybe a brooding man billionaire in a Batcave isn't the best way to recruit. Maybe that moment is like, you know what, you're right. Maybe I need to approach this a little differently.
That does feel more like, and I could be completely off base with this, but that feels like something that would be a studio note, where it's like, hey, we need a Tony Stark or we need a Nick Fury type character. We need someone that he's got quips, and he's
probably
in the squad and he's fun. So
That's because the thing is I feel like a couple of studio notes, Zack was probably like, okay, like early on, and I agree with you. I definitely feel like the way that Batman is portrayed is and written is definitely from more of a, because like think about it. Remember with BVS, they were like the studios, like it leaked out that they were like no jokes, and then this one it's like there's quite a lot. So it's like I'm like I don't think that was. I'm wondering what the push and pull is here, but at the end of the day, like I think it still functions for the movie. The neck and the costume, I still see as a fundamental production issue. That at least it was noticeable to me that he felt just too stiff until he wasn't. But yeah, all the other members of the league, I cannot say enough about like how Cyborg, Flash, Wonder Woman, fucking Wonder Woman was the
And the
she was
music.
she was
Every
crushing.
time.
No,
Dude,
got-
can we talk about the score for this movie?
Yeah.
Holy
Yes.
shit.
score is incredible.
Dude,
Love
this
that.
is Junkie's master. This is his opus, bro. Like this whole score, like, oh my gosh.
Junkie
Some
excellent.
people might like the score more than the movie, and that's a valid opinion because this score is so sick.
Yeah,
Okay, so what did you guys think of Wonder Woman?
I hated it. Hated it. Hated. I was like, what is this Xena warrior princess? What is going on? I hated it, bro. I wanted to.
Really?
I
I
like.
like it
Could've
because it
worked
matches
twice
the
or
energy of the
twice.
scene.
I love the. I like her other music. This fucking. I was like, bro, when she came and sliced those motherfuckers at first, like, is she singing? Like, did she sing when she? I thought it was her. I was like, bro, is she singing right now, slicing these dudes up? I really did not like. I hated that.
Well, I was
Sorry.
ready for the Icelandic people to like come in and
Start
like,
coming in.
little candles, like
They're back.
Oh my god.
Dude, the more I think about
No.
that
No,
scene,
that
the more
song-
I
that's
just
the
don't like it.
tie-in.
Like the more I was like, what is this?
Yo, Superman
I love
though. They've brought back the flying theme.
Man of Steel, bro.
It's very
Oh
good,
my
bro.
Bro, and
God.
the way they
Flight.
like filled it in when he's fighting Steppenwolf, like
Yeah.
how
Bruh.
it felt so
Dude.
big, bruh.
I said before that was my favorite Man of Steel theme, like song piece.
Oh,
Like
dude,
the soundtrack,
all of
they
us.
used it once, and now they brought it back. And I'm like,
All of
this
us,
is
dude. We
fucking
were all
incredible.
like, dude, what's your favorite thing about Man of Steel? Flight.
Yep,
Uh,
The whole flight.
Like,
100%.
I just want to say, I
It's
think
a
all you
perfect
guys are
excuse.
crazy. That Wonder Woman.
I'm
I
with
loved
Danny
it.
on
It
this.
was awesome. I
It
was
reminded me
here
of
for it.
Troy.
the
It reminded
original
me of
Wonder
Troy.
Woman theme is so
I
good,
want that
though.
to be my theme, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm
As
saying.
soon as I
The
enter a
original
room-
one thing was it. I'm with Fred. I'm with Fred.
That original Wonder Woman score, theme is so sick.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I like
like, dude, I love that. I love that. Like that. That's also like super dope. I just like I liked the sort of mystical, sort of like, ooh, she's so mysterious. Like I was like, I liked it.
We've already had a movie with her. She's not that mysterious.
I mean, and we've been into the 80s with her for no reason. So,
Well,
For
You
no
know.
reason.
no reason at all.
Yeah, that's a sore
That's a
subject.
different conversation.
Real quick,
That's
Cody
that's
Bond
another
said,
stream.
Yeah.
Cody Bond with the super chat said, with Lois pregnancy test, how do you take it? Do you see it as a Jonathan Kemp point of view? Or did you see it as an injustice point of view?
I saw it as Jonathan Kent.
It's
I
probably
thought
Jonathan
that's what they were going. That's but
Same
when
here.
I saw it.
It's also very in your face, that blocking.
And
Like,
also,
hey, by
Oh,
the
yeah.
way,
also
Look at this.
Bruce says congratulations, by the way, at the end of the movie. So I assume that like it's his. You know what I mean? Like John, it's gonna be Jonathan.
Ah,
catch that
I didn't
either.
even catch that, bro.
Yeah,
I should have
same.
wore my baseball glove next time.
Next time you catch that with the baseball glove.
Okay.
You know. Hey,
okay.
Yeah, the still the Wonder Woman thing. Anyway, no, the as for the pregnancy test, yeah, I definitely I was like, okay, this is very in our face right now. It's very played to the camera. It's
especially
it's-
since it's a white box sitting in a brown dark drawer. It's like, by the way, it's right here.
yep, not an
Baby.
Can you see
accident.
it? Can you see it yet?
Dude.
Yeah.
Jeremy's production design side was having a heart attack. He was like,
It was
oh,
right in my face.
He was like, oh,
That's the entire shot right there, man.
Yo,
Just
so
sweating profusely.
So I have a question. So we in this movie, we've alluded to the future 3 times in 3 different moments, right? So my question is, when the Unity happened and the shit exploded, it immediately showed a version of Darkseid coming in and killing everybody, right? Is that timeline still on, or is that if the Unity would have done? Is
That timeline's still
Flash's
on.
run back to reverse that happening? Because it seems like the bang happened, it then showed all these things happening, and then Barry did his rewind. Is that the same timeline that we saw in the nightmare sequence?
So here's what I think. I think, yes, it is the same timeline. I think that he attempted to reverse it, but I don't think he did. I think he just delayed it. And the reason why I think that is because Darkseid knows where anti-life is. No, like that's what he's after. More than the mother boxes, he's after the anti-life.
Right.
And now that he knows that the mother boxes and the anti-life are on the same planet, he's like, oh, fucking game over. Like, I got this.
I think bringing back Superman was the catalyst. Because
Exactly.
that was like that's what I got.
Yes, 100%. And so, like, yeah, I do think that's the same timeline. I think that
Butterfly effect.
Well,
right.
He said it. He said it out loud. We do it the old way.
Right.
That's your answer right there, Adonis. He said you only delayed me. Now I'm gonna do it the old way. And he already attempted the old way, but I mean, I
got
don't
bodied.
think, and he got bodied. But now he's
got-
different, right? Because
Yeah,
now he
he's
has
different now.
the
He's 1,000 years
experiences.
older.
different.
Over
Yeah.
Well, now
He's over a
Zeus
few
is
thousand
like,
years older.
5,000.
1,000 years older. How many years has it been since he's been there?
Like 5,000, because I don't think Diana was here, and Diana's 5,000 years old. It was at
All right,
least
so-
5,000.
And he's been hitting the gym in those 5,000 years. So
I mean, yeah, my dude yoked.
Longer than
He's
humans
putting up
remember.
big boy
Because he
weight.
wasn't
1,000
Darkseid
years.
then, right? He was, what's his
No,
name?
he was still
Was-
Darkseid. He just was young.
Uxas.
Uxas.
Yeah, or, Oxmas or some shit.
Yeah.
Oxnard.
Christmas. I think his name is Christmas.
Oxnard.
All sack.
Oh, all right. Sure.
okay,
Why?
Correct.
I
Sure.
was thinking.
Yo, so somebody did ask earlier. I do got to keep it 1,000 because I feel like it's a good question. Scott did ask, who looked better, Darkseid or Thanos?
Darkseid.
Thanos.
Thanos.
Damn.
So here's my next
Oh,
question.
y'all.
Next question. Off of that. Are we talking about the CG or are we talking about the design of the character? What are we talking about?
Like the level of adaptation from what the original source material is to live action, or like just purely the technology.
I mean, because that's like 3 different questions. So like,
It is.
we
And
got
I say Thanos
so-
because like the technology that goes into making Thanos, fucking incredible. Push the whole industry forward. That is another level of character design merged with performance capture, all into one believably unbelievable character. Like it's fucking incredible.
I
Thanos.
think-
Thanos is a cool cameo. Like, oh yeah, that's sharp looking, but it's nowhere near the
You mean
level
Darkseid?
of tech.
You mean Darkseid?
Darkseid, yeah. Darkseid is nowhere near the level of tech as Thanos is.
right.
My question to you, Jeremy, would be: do you think that is because we haven't had enough of Darkseid yet?
I think
If I can,
just because for this movie, I'm assuming didn't have the time to really sink their teeth into like developing the rig, the skeleton, all the little nuances of what it requires for a virtual performance character like that.
Right. So like mocap. So do you think that if we got an actual movie and he had, 20 plus minutes of screen time, right? Like the way that Thanos has had,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
it'd be
Darkseid
motion captured.
Yeah, Darkseid could become one of,
Yeah.
could be elevated in that way, in that level of storytelling. But also, like, on top of Thanos' tech and his visual development, I also just really like Josh Brolin's portrayal of Thanos merged with the tech side
With
of
the
things.
tech, yeah. No, he was unbelievable.
So
it's also important to recognize that Thanos was made and designed and built the way that he was built for Infinity War and Endgame. If you looked at Thanos back when he was introduced in the
Avengers.
first time
Exactly.
in Avengers or even Guardians of the Galaxy,
He
you'll
was
see
different.
that it was completely different. And I would say if you were asking me between that version and Darkseid, I would probably choose Darkseid.
Oh yeah, Darkseid,
But
100%.
Right, but just the sheer technology and the innovation that went into Thanos, it's like it unfortunately is
Isn't on the
not
same
even
level.
a question because
I mean, Weta Digital literally sold Infinity War and Endgame because they did that Thanos test in Unreal Engine. Like,
dude, that close up of when Mantis has him under, and like the close up of him and his
Oh my
face,
God.
I was like, bro,
God.
that's a real.
Dude,
I'm looking at it.
the shot in Infinity War where he got the Mind Stone? No, not the Mind Stone. The Reality Stone.
The Reality Stone.
Yeah, like that shot, the close up of him, everything.
That was wild. That
Also,
was
the
wild.
opening scene, the shot of him with Loki, and that smirk, the lighting, the virtual lensing, the background, everything. Oh my God!
I'm sorry, Jeremy. Are you stating that you said Meta Labs sold an engine?
Weta Digital did a previs, a test to prove to Marvel that they can do Thanos justice.
Like a game?
So they used
video game?
Unreal Engine.
Unreal
as a
Engine.
game engine.
Yeah.
So
they're
they
using
use
Unreal
that to
a
kind
lot
of
for
quickly
film now.
Yeah, it's used for film now too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. What?
They have a
Dude,
whole
they use
technical
it for
video
the-
on it right now where you can actually go and if you can actually go and create people in it. It's actually crazy.
It's being Unreal Engine is being used for all the virtual sets for Mandalorian.
Oh God.
Yeah, but so Weta Digital, they did Lord of the Rings and everything. They did a test to prove to Marvel that they could portray a virtual, completely 100% CG character with the human emotion and depth that the character needed in the story. So they literally they sold Marvel on that idea and basically, bankrolling two of the biggest blockbusters in recent film history.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I think that's just a huge Thanos over Darkseid in that comparison is that one, obviously we can tell that they didn't have enough time. This wasn't his movie. He was, I wouldn't say he's a cameo. He's definitely a character, but it's not his movie like Infinity War was Thanos' movie.
Right.
But also the integration Thanos had with other characters, specifically completely real life human characters like Tony Stark or Star-Lord. Whereas we only ever see Darkseid on CG
Steppenwolf.
backdrops
Yeah,
next to
yeah.
CG characters.
Right.
I want to watch this again when we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing too. Somebody asked me on my live, they're like, "Oh, what do you think was we all know comic book fans are going to try to compare universe to universe and blah blah. And they're like, what do you think is better than Infinity War? And I was like, bro, that's not even fair. Infinity War is the reason why Infinity War to me is so ridiculous is they took a hero movie and made the hero the villain. And the main character is the villain, and it's his movie. The genius behind that movie,
it's an anti-hero.
built on years of previous movies. It's ridiculous. I was like, that's not a fair assessment. I was like, maybe the first Avengers movie in this, we could probably have that conversation. But
Guardians of the Galaxy for sure.
I was like, but Infinity War is its own weird, ridiculous monster of a thing. I was like, so it's just not really a fair comparison.
Yeah.
Right.
And I get why people want to, because they I know comic book fans are like, look, Darkseid was here before Thanos, and I get all of that, and I understand that, but we're talking about films here. In film, Thanos was first. It just is what it is. And in that scenario, I feel like it's just not a fair comparison at this point. So I just don't think it's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Maybe one day.
Agreed.
Let's cycle through the rest of the super chats, give our final thoughts, and then I think we're gonna call it a night, guys.
Yeah. So we got Genova94. What do you guys think about this movie actually being about six jerks preventing a poor, sad man from going back to his home or to his bro? He's like, I'm trying to go back to the bros, but
Oh my God.
That's a great way to look at this movie. And also, I think that's a true testament to how much development Steppenwolf had in this movie versus the Justice League, because he was a straight up character. He had a character. He had a reason to prove himself and to do what he was doing. Granted, we do not agree with what he's doing because what he's doing is some evil ass shit. But he has his motivation
To us.
Dude, he got
Exactly,
I mean,
to us.
well,
To you.
I mean, I think, is it not objectively a bad guy thing to do to terraform the planet immediately, wiping all life off the face of that planet, so you can then give it to your overlord who has 50,000 worlds or whatever underneath his thumb?
No, 100,000.
100,000. Is it a
More.
relatable thing? He got
quite.
fucked up by the end of that movie, dude.
Yeah, you did.
They lasered his ass.
That-
They
I
fucking
feel like that's my biggest, criticism, I guess, about the DCEU is that they go straight to world ending so fast, universe ending so fast, and I'm like, if that's the case, then where the heck are all the other heroes? What are they doing? And then questions
Yeah.
start, like plot holes start piling up. But when you start smaller and more personal, and then start fleshing out the characters and building up to a world-ending scenario, then that makes more sense.
You know
And
what? It's
even
crazy. Though, I
Marvel
think
is, sorry, real quick. Like Marvel is doing that again, restarting with their Phase 4 by starting out with the Disney Plus shows and fleshing out characters, and then bringing in the eventual whatever threat that's going to be universe ending.
But I do to be fair,
fair.
they did the world-ending shit for literally like 4 or 5 movies in the MCU before fans were like, finally, can we do this? Can we tone back the world
I
ending?
agree, and they did.
And DC hasn't done it yet. DC just hasn't
know.
got there yet.
Like, come on, guys.
I do want to see though if this way will work. You know what I mean? Like I feel like how he's trying to tell this stuff is so unorthodox that I'm like, I want to see if it works.
Same
Like,
here.
a
Like
part of-
that's my biggest thing is like I wish that Snyder, like I wish that we could have seen his universe realized so that we could truly then compare and contrast
Right,
once it's
'cause it's like-
completed, because like he's starting it different, he's doing it different, it's going to be a different story, different tone, different concept, you know what I mean? Like it's not like we get introduced to these characters and then they form it's like the heroes already exist, they all know that, and we like, I don't know, I just wish that we could have seen his approach.
So here's my question. So if it could possibly happen, do you think if it was crowdsourced for him to do the second one,
God.
because I mean the fans are there. If it could be crowdsourced and then delivered on HBO Max, and that way it's not going through the studios technically, but it's like, look, we'll have it on HBO Max. You know what I'm saying? But crowdsource this hoe so we can see, because like it. In theory, it's like, look, we want to see if it'll work, but it's not our money technically going into this shit either. You know what I'm saying? It's like we can't just be playing with somebody else's money.
Because like the biggest
I don't
narrative
know.
project so far on like a crowdsourcing thing would be, I don't know, I think it was $15 million range, 10, 15, like that's indie budget,
Right.
So you want to crowdsource a Zack
Crowdsource
Snyder film?
300 million, bro.
Oh my God.
300 mil. Look, if people are going to buy tickets for movies that are and spending billions of dollars on, like, look, all I'm saying is it's a possibility that you could crowdsource that much when you've already had proof of concept. It's not like we're saying, hey, bro, I want to make a movie about Dragon Ball. Everybody's gonna be like, fuck you. We saw that shit. That's never happening again, right? So in this, it's like
Not
people that
until we
saw
do it.
Coming off the hype.
right. Not until we do it. So I think in this case, it's like, well, people that are hardcore Zack Snyder fans, right? The fans that are heavy on this already will probably like, I'm a crowdsource, right? Then people that have maybe seen
money
this
where
that
your mouth
didn't
is.
necessarily like the original cut, that now like this, that are like, yo, I'm trying to see where this goes. They may actually be invested in crowdsource. So like, do you think that could potentially be a solution to see something like this move forward?
If you did NFTs, you'd have to work in something.
Instead of economic relief, instead of stimmies, just put that budget straight to a Snyderverse.
No.
That's a bit.
The only way I could see
Veto.
them possibly doing something like that is if the studio, because like a $200 million Zack
you would
Snyder
need-
movie is gonna be hard. And like the thing is I feel like without any sort of creative control guarantee from Warner, like why on earth would he come back if he didn't have a bulletproof contract? He has no guarantee
Right.
that they won't do this again.
Facts.
No
Facts.
guarantee. He needs it in his contract
Half
that
of
they
the budget of the
cannot
movie
touch.
will be for his lawyers.
Facts.
Right.
You don't touch my shit, man.
Yeah, and I can't see Warner Media saying that that's a good idea to give. I just feel like, oh yeah, like there has been this huge movement behind the Snyder Cut, but like, could it happen again? And what if you spend $200 million and it doesn't happen again? You know, it's like I can see Warner's, and it seems like they're already on their path with Matt Reeves. Would I want to see it? I think I already said I would rather see him do a show. That I would rather see him do a show than a movie.
Yeah.
Because I know if he does a movie, the thing is he's not going to get a chance to Snyder cut it again for a 4-hour cut. No, and they're going to give a 2.5 hour
money. Like they're already losing money right now. They've. I mean,
how long was Endgame?
3 hours.
Yeah.
So do you think, honestly, do you think this movie could get to like 315 in theaters?
I think
Cut
330.
any of the slow-mo shots, and you already cut off 45 minutes. Simple
He
as
ain't
that.
wrong. He ain't wrong.
I think this movie could do 500 mil in theaters.
No, I'm talking about time wise, right? Like 315, like 3 hours, 15 minutes. Do you think it could
No.
do?
You could cut it to.
How long was Return of the King theatrical?
Oh shit! 3 hours and
Theatrical, I think it was like a little under 4 hours. I'm pretty sure it was like 3
Yeah.
hours and 30 minutes or a little
Was it
longer.
really?
But I know the
So-
extended cut was over 4 hours, like almost
So-
4 and a
Yeah,
half.
if Return of the King could be under 4 hours, but still over 3 hours, and still win all those Academy Awards and like have that successful box office.
Holy
run,
shit!
then
I'm just saying, like, I know they're trying to maximize seat time, right? They're like, look, if we can
Right.
keep a movie under 2 hours, we can play this movie multiple times in theater. I get that. However, we're in a really weird time right now where it's like this situation right now is a paradigm shifting event,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, okay, long form people like if the story's there, right? Or whatever it is there, long form can still work. It can work in a streaming
It's
service
split
for
up.
sure. It can work in a streaming service for sure. Some people are saying, look, like I would actually watch this in theaters. I don't know if I could sit in a theater for 4 hours, to be completely honest with you, but 3.5 with an intermission, I think I could do that. So I'm like, look, like, I'm
How
just
you feeling
saying,
sitting here right now.
I got ADHD. I'm already bouncing around.
Yeah.
but I mean, bro, for sure. Like me sitting around doing this, I'm cool because I can look at different things or whatever, but like sitting still, that's why I can't stream for that long staring at something. But I
Right.
think in that situation, like something out of this is going to cause a ripple into something though, for sure. Like
Oh,
this is an
I already-
event
I
I think
100% agree. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think like if anything, like they might get a chance to like do something for HBO Max because like that's like the perfect way to compete with Disney Plus if like that's what they're looking at, you know.
Could also be like one shot, like 30 to 45 minute hour, you know, maybe an hour long event, or like branch
mean-
out into comic books or even a cartoon.
Yeah, I
of
really like
this,
the way the roadshow for
a video game.
Hateful Eight, happened because there
Yeah,
was an
because there
intermission.
was an overture and there was an intermission and like it felt cool. Like it felt like an experience. Like
It
that
was
also
an experience, yeah, and these things would be experiences.
So question for the chat. How many of you did not have HBO Max, bought HBO Max to watch the Snyder Cut? I'm
wanna
actually
know
just really
this.
interested.
Yeah, I
Because-
want to know this.
Here in Australia, we don't have HBO Max, but I found out there's a service out here called Binge that is actually either they're owned by AT&T or Warner Media or whatever, but it's like the HBO Max out here. Game of Thrones is on and all this stuff, right? So I didn't know that. And some people that had the early access thing that I guess they had this contest for so we could watch it early for the Snyder Cut, people were on there saying, oh, I watched it on Binge in Australia because it's going to be streaming there. I was, what the hell is Binge? I didn't even know that was a thing. So I ended up buying Binge so I could watch the Snyder Cut because I wanted to see it. I could do like a VPN, but we all know how VPNs work. So I was like, look, I'm going to try that. So I did that. So I'm just curious to see if the other people that didn't have it was like, fuck it, let's just get it.
Looks like we've already got 4, if not 5 or 6 people saying that they bought HBO Max for the Snyder Cut.
and that's just this
Interesting.
chat. Like imagine how many people around the
Yeah,
world
right.
and or you know what I mean?
Matthias said there's something called VPN. So like, all right. So just so you guys have an awareness, I live in Australia. So when you're when you're across the world trying to VPN to another country, there's a gigantic degradation in signal quality, like in like bandwidth, and especially when you're streaming
Unless you got
something
that
from
money.
HBO Max that is going, and everybody's trying to watch it at one time. Like I've tried to do that with Game of Thrones, and it suffers tremendously. So yeah,
That's even in some areas in the States, dude, to be honest with you.
Yeah, VPNs are cool for like quick little things, but trying to do like something like that on like a launch day of a
because I
series
can. So I have to use VPN for my work, and I think our servers are located, I think, in Virginia. And
So you're bouncing your signal from Vegas to Virginia and then back.
dude, it gets like, you know,
nasty.
it gets
Mr.
it
Nasty
really
Time.
held up. So like,
Yeah.
and that's in the States. So imagine, you know, with half the population size, I'm sure it's probably going to be a lot more. It's, you know, it's going to probably suffer a lot more extensively.
I hate to be that guy, but we really got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So
Rapidouche.
let's rapid fire these super chats, and then we'll call it a day, guys. We'll call it our first little Hawk stream.
Hawking.
We got Cole Goodman
Wow.
said, "Great to see you guys again. Hope all is well." If you guys had the keys to the DC movies, how would you guys go about it? How different would it
You'll
be?
find out.
You'll find out.
That is a very long answer.
I was just saying, that's
That's
gonna take a while.
Yeah, you're just
a
gonna
very
have to
long
wait
answer.
and see.
A very long answer, but just know that we've been thinking about it for years.
Clever You says, technically, Steppenwolf made it back home ahead of the gameplay.
But
Oh, man.
because
God.
he lost his head.
Yeah.
I love it.
Cody
he
Bond
lost
said,
his head.
I'll super chat. Cody Bond said, I'll super chat $50 if you send me one of those dang hats. LOL.
Yeah, we
What's
really
a dang
gotta-
hat? I
we
want a
gotta
dang
make-
hat.
We got to make some more of these hats
Yeah,
and then
we gotta make more. Got
sell
through
them. If you
pretty much
guys
all
are
of it.
interested in hats, then let us know. We just need to find a manufacturer who can make good quality ones and actually distribute them, because mailing them out ourselves is a huge pain in the butt.
We got Scott Stid said, would you rather see superhero solo movies so we can get to know the characters building up to the Justice League movie, or go the way of the Snyderverse? What is your preferred way of story building?
I would love to see another Superman movie, dude. I love Henry Cavill as Superman, even if it's not Zack Snyder. Like, I would love to see him lead another movie. Because, man, like you said earlier, Man of Steel is your favorite DCU movie. Same here, dude. Like, I rewatched it recently. I'm like, this movie is perfect. Like, I have no problems with this movie, actually.
I personally would want to watch solo movies. That would be dope. But me personally, as a filmmaker, I want to make solo shows and then lead up to big event movies. That's how I would do it personally.
I'm with Jeremy on that.
Spend more time with the characters.
Yeah,
Movies or
exactly.
shows as a solo for sure.
Yeah,
I
shows,
love-
because like you can flesh out the characters in their own shows, and then you have the big team up movies or big event movies where all of them come together, and you can make the movie itself a little longer to kind of fit everything in, but like the movie format lends itself well to big events such as team ups, and then shows lends itself to solo characters to kind of flesh out their stories.
Yep.
Scott Stid said, I bought SnyderCut. I bought it for SnyderCut, Godzilla, and Mortal Kombat. I'm assuming that's for HBO Max.
The Holy Trilogy.
Yo, bro, that's
It's gonna be dope.
like
Yeah.
The
that's
Holy
like
Trinity.
all within like 30 days of each other too.
Holy
trilogy.
This month is just gonna be
Father,
nuts.
Son, Holy Ghost.
Yes,
Yeah,
I meant
shut up.
Trinity,
Jeremy,
but we're just gonna go trilogy.
Yeah.
Nightmare asks, future plans?
Future plans. I can take this one. So, yeah, I mean, like I kind of said at the beginning of the stream, our plans are to continue working as filmmakers. We have been very fortunate to be able to work with some really cool people on some really cool projects, and every single project and every single year the projects are getting bigger, the budgets are getting bigger, the opportunities are getting bigger, and it's been a long and tough and winding road, and we're going to keep pushing on that because this is ultimately our dream since we were kids. That being said, what are we directly working on? We got a couple of cool projects that we have. We have a short film that we worked on with Mari Takahashi that is currently in development. That'll be coming out this year, or it's in post production right now. We just finished up a music video with Echo. We're working on a couple of new projects again, like next week, that are some cool little promos that are, I think, are going to be really fun. But the big one is that we might do some crowdfunding campaigns for some other bigger projects. Not like fan films or anything, but like some projects that I think we've been wanting to work on for a while. One of them is there might be a feature film opportunity in our future. So you might find out more about that. I'd say if you're someone who appreciates Hawk Talk, or you appreciate anything that we've made or done in the past, like, your support is super, super essential for us to be able to keep being able to do what we do. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I think I speak from everybody else, how grateful we are for all of you guys. We've only gotten as far as we have because of you. So yeah. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you for your support, and hope that you continue supporting.
Fucking dope. It's because we've kind of pivoted from YouTube channel to more of an actual film studio type thing. So
Pivot.
Support Paramount, because the indie space and film, very hard.
Yes.
Very hard.
Very hard. King Breezy says, thank you guys so much for doing this. I know we all appreciate you finding the time to bring us a stream, and would love to see more at some point.
Oh, thanks for the love. We love you back.
Yeah, we'll have to really consider doing more. It seems like you guys were really having a good time here, and I had fun too. So this was a blast, guys.
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
I hate talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Why do I?
We
that
never
every
would
day?
have. We never would have guessed that, Jeremy. Truly, I never would have guessed that you didn't like talking to me.
Unbelievable.
I love talking to
Jeremy.
you.
Give me your face.
I
Give me
love
that
kissing
cheek.
you.
Give me that
Marie.
neck.
Give me that neck, Daddy.
What else we got, Adonis?
That's it, man.
That's it?
That's the squad.
Then Tony, Noel, Adonis, Fred, Jimmy, Preston, everyone who's been helping us moderate the chat, everyone who's been here, thank you guys all so much.
Hearts.
Yeah, so much love, and maybe we'll do it again. Let us know if you want to see more. On that note, thank you guys. We'll see you later. We love you. Bye. Call your mom. She misses you.
We out this day.